within one box of each other, hiding away. But eventually you do have to leave that shell at some point.
Colorado are still trying their best in this fight. This is very important for them just in terms of trying to come back once again in day number 2. A lot of the times, if there's not 12 games, just a 6-game format, irrelevant fight to watch. So we watch them come back right here, or possibly even go down. Third party, maybe even coming in. No, it's just a pinch from the side of Refsguard. They're going to look for a little bit. Meanwhile, Malabuka also fighting. Talk about a few teams all surviving. You mentioned a little bit backstage, Levin. We were all just chilling in the green room talking. What if every team played Surge perfectly? You know what I mean? Yeah. How would the game look? It'd be so difficult. I feel like teams had an essence of that. There's no way we can all just get tags. We have to maybe even fight. So for Stash Malabuka, they strike at that, pick up a team before, you know, the crazy tags start to start.
Yeah, this is a team that usually is never really dealing with Surge problems just because of how much damage they do, how prominent they are in fights. But we got Resub with an update on a team that's very, very prominent in fights. So what you got for us, Reese?
Hello, thanks, gents. In third place total, teams do not really talk that much about the last few games, Tayson and Chapix. Notice the east to west bus path, getting some tags out of the sky right now. So that's going to set them up really, really well for the later game. And they also notice a little launch pad there on the floor too. So if these guys are below Surge, they've messed up.
Okay.
I associate intelligence in Fortnite to a couple players. When I think of the smartest players, the players who understand Fortnite the best, there are a couple names that come to mind. First name, Queasy.
Okay.
Second name,
yeah,
Tayson.
Why in that specific order? Why Queasy first?
Well, one, because I don't like Tayson. He's not my friend anymore.
Oh.
We used to be best buds, but we got a little beef going on.
Oh, okay.
But also because I really like the way Queasy thinks about the game, so. But even then, it's not even like a 1 and 2, it's like a 1A, 1B type.
1A, 1B, yeah.
It's a 1A, 1B type thing.
On the note for those two specific players, you give intelligence tools so early in the game. Meters filled up that they usually check in like the 3rd or 4th zone, just completely one in the first. That is a dangerous combination for the game. Reese is setting them up to, you better make a big one out of this one, or you know, there's a problem.
And the thing is, right, like we said, they've almost just sort of lurked their way into the situation. We've not seen much of them, but they've been very prominent in these games, and that's the reason why they're able to secure their damage really well. They're finding really good positions. Again, we talked about how it has been an adjustment for them, landing mid-map, right? They're more comfortable playing edge, playing dead side of the zone when they can as well.
Do my eyes deceive me, or do I see 3 launch pads in Tayson's inventory?
That says 3 launch pads.
3 launch pads.
Yep.
3 launch pads, 3rd place, 2 duos. Game 3 plus 2 is game 5. 11.
Wow.
It's happening.
You did the mathematics on that one.
I'm not even good at math, and I can make that one happen.
So, win?
The thing is, right, I just checked my newspaper of the future of Game 5.
Okay.
Aquavino's still alive right now.
Yeah.
And that's a thing. And they had the gutter card. So,
Yeah.
5 launch pads versus 3.
The battle of the pads.
The language of the pads. What does the linguistic 11 have to say? The LL about the launch pads this game. The triple L. L cubed.
To win FNCS, you must speak the language of the pad.
Okay.
You must have pad.
Yeah.
Pad is win.
Yeah. Have 3 of them this game are hogging pads from what must be the rest of the lobby completely. Sue and Leon, bottom left side landers towards the turbines. Will fly in the zones, padless. Zest and Hookah, we were predicting to give Andalex a bad time, but haven't seen too many eliminations past what's happening in the 5th and 6th zones. Nothing too early from them so far.
Yeah,
Zeston zoned in.
Look, this is a team who we know to be very aggressive, right, in terms of Hookah and Zeston. They haven't quite been able to show us that sort of prowess so far in these games. But in any case, we do still have many opportunities for them to show that off. Same could be said about Jonesy Andy. They've done a better job of that, right? Sitting in 8th place, winning their Osborne battles. But can we see a pop-off from them, right? Maybe can we see these guys be the ones to throw a wrench, just throw a spanner in the works when it comes to the battle for high ground? Wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. Of course, Yandy is Chapix's former teammate, right? So maybe he has some words for his former teammate who is in third place. Maybe he can put a stop to them. Definitely the type of team that could do that. For Zara and Darkies, though, these chug splashes are a savior. I was about to say, where are they getting HP from? The chug splashes come through. And so that will be a saving grace, but they are close to zone, so I'm sure they'll be all right. Norksy and Eclipse, though, always somewhere about this area, looking to cause some problems for anybody who wants some smoke. But Zara and Darkies will take the fight to them and making it look easy. Norksy was a solo, Eclipse wasn't there to be found. And so one elimination now for Darkies and Zara. If you've been watching the previous FNCS weeks and you're wondering who Zara is, his name was Mr. Satan before, so if you're wondering, there's a little update for you. But they're looking good. Max materials, close to the zone. They've dealt some damage, might need a bit more as we move forward into the game, but not a bad platform to build off of.
Looking at the God team themselves, the Kings, we're working on a name. It'll come naturally towards this end game where they win another game, right? Yeah. See the stat on screen, 2 games and 6 different FNCS finals. I think I was there for the first one that this man started off on. What was it? It was Aqua, Stompy Chicken Aqua.
Just tell the story. I know you want to tell everyone the story.
No, man, I want to tell them the story.
Tell them the story.
Predictions are a hot thing right now. They're on our hearts, on our heads, right? Between all of us.
Yeah.
I used to feel the pain of them firsthand. Predicted these guys way back in Season X when they were a team. First 3 games, poo-poo, right? After that, something happened. I don't know, between these 3 players. Maybe Aqua stepped up, and it was just banger after banger after banger. Final game, win, and taking the title too. You just have to love it.
Yeah. So since then, you've always been a big Aqua believer, and rightfully so. Coming back into the fray, we obviously got to see a lot of these players at Media Day, Reese and I, and Aqua was one of the ones that I was really impressed with.
Really?
He just seems to have a new sort of hunger, a new sort of fire and desire. And of course, I'm not trying to make everything seem rosy for that duo, right? Anybody that's been following the story of Aqua and Vino this season knows it's a miracle they're still a duo. I've never seen a team argue so much mid-competition. I've never seen 2 players openly admit their distaste towards each other in big moments, but yet they've managed to stick together, and they might even win an FNCS because of it.
The trick to winning FNCS, mute your duo partner in quals.
Yeah.
And ... profit.
Literally.
Those are the steps.
And guys, Shayo is not exaggerating either. There have been games where these guys have actually just muted each other mid-game.
And won. Like, literally got a VR. Think about that real quick. Imagine watching any other sport, right, and teammates don't talk to each other. There's never a pass. There's never anything. And they're winning games.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy, crazy stuff.
On board right now, we see a bunch of teams that have had a few more rockier starts to the competition. Another game where Kami and Seti are down on Surge, just barely. Kami's AR does not work the same as Vino's. He takes 1 shot and only gets 1 tag, like the rest of us.
He is human.
He's trying to find a few more right now. This is primetime position for them. A few more zones than usual. They get to stay in this spot. Should be very familiar with the timings and the movements around Tilted. This is where they just get all their Surge all the time and then usually move out. They're still in the same base. Buka, look at just the difference in where they're coming from. 648 damage above.
These guys don't have Surge issues, man. They don't have Surge issues. I'm hoping that everyone else starts to have issues, because I want these guys to win, because they are my prediction. And I'm a biased caster. Yeah, call me out in the chat. I don't care.
He is. He's actually not even like lying about it. This man is freaking out backstage about the placement. It's crazy.
Look, man. I need to look, Queasy and Hen are trying to keep a hold of their FNCS title. I'm trying to keep a hold of my FNCS prediction title.
Ah, yes.
That's what it's really, that's what's in it for me.
Many storylines.
Seti. Them shots. 39 is not enough. Had potential for so much more. Malabuka picking up another elimination.
Clemberry on the right, he was a solo. He's surrounded by so many teams that are like 30th, 40th place, desperate, and probably need to edit on them. Mustache Malabuka playing defense, playing the 8th zone basically, getting practice before it starts.
We'll see if they can get their way into zone, right? Because they do have a bit of a distance compared to seemingly everyone else in the lobby. Tayson, Chapix.
3-pack! We mentioned it before, but like just looking at it again in the 3rd zone, when everything starts to get a little bit more condensed, you get to see the advantage they have. But think about it, who else has this advantage? People are going to be following exactly where Tayson and Chapix are going to go. We have Vadil and Noah Riley, who basically get free rotates as well.
And the thing is, they will still look to recycle pads when needed, right?
That's disgusting.
They will. They'll still look to recycle pads when needed. And they'll probably look to play for height this game using those pads. So they'll try and save them for, you know, 2nd, 3rd moving, if possible.
Oh no, Malabuka down in a very crucial game. 30 points, 35 points behind Vino and Aqua. This is the only team that can give them trouble, that can contest them on the leaderboards, and they cannot afford to be a game behind even. They're already a full game's worth of points away from holding that 1st place title. Mustache now way deep in the zone. This is a later one, so it's sticking for 5 every single second. He will pop that med miss, but that will just even out his HP. Maybe give him a little bit more as he starts to move. He's going to be running into 3 different teams on many different layers. He's next to those 3 pads though, so this might be the best position for him to be in. He basically has a dual partner beside him. He just needs to base up and then pray that Tayson and Chapix use those launch pads.
And Wilson just got used, right? And if he heard that, then maybe there's a chance for him. This is how Malabuka went down. Look, you can see they were trying to get in. I literally said it's going to be difficult. Opens the edit. As he opens it, players start taking shots at him. Really difficult stuff there, but they were one of the few teams that had a bit of a journey to get into zone. They waited too late after picking up the elimination on Climberry, and it might have just cost them their chance, really. Of course, we are still just at game 5. There's a whole nother day, but if Vino and Aqua continue on this pace, they're going to be so hard to catch.
Uncharacteristic from Vino right there, only landing 1 shot out of the 4. Unfortunate for Seti and Cammy. How is it that when these guys use a cannon like this in this type of zone, no one shoots them? 39 HP and 10 HP. They're not shot a single time in the air. Both land, and the focus stops too. What?
I would have been eliminated.
Where's the milk? I asked for milk at the start of the show to see invisible players, right? That's how you reveal the invisible ink. They have something.
They have
something. What is it?
Their outfits blend into the sky, so nobody could see them. No, maybe that's what's going on there. Look, very fortunate to still be in this game, of course, on such low HP. They are shambles. They're next to a team, though, in Aquavina, who are looking very, very strong. Clown and Restguard. We saw some of their struggles and trials and tribulations earlier on. They were able to pick up some eliminations onto Aspi and Siren, and now picking up some free loot here as well. They didn't put in the hard yards for this, but they'll happily profit from it.
Cammy now, crucial siphon onto T-Chips. Remember, they have no shield, and their damage is so low on Surge as well, so looks like Seti's game is going well so far. Talk about off spawn and look good for Clown and Restguard just for this game specifically. Rest of the day, shambles. This zone also shambles. Restguard has to be perfect, but doesn't have the life force to be able to stay in the game. He's out of materials. Oh, he's out of the magic. Clown, though, has a little bit of it. Still pushing forward, but can't do much right now.
He just hit a 175 shot, and he's 175 above. Literally was on that line for Surge. And so that shot will keep him in the game. But you can see what he's working with. It's not much when it comes to materials. If only maybe there was still 200 pump potential in this game, he would have had an elimination for himself, or at least a knock.
Okay, look at this. This is all purely done what looks like from maybe some loot that these guys might have got off of T-Chips. They've moved their base maybe slightly, had the harpoon from Cammy, picking up a few of the massive materials. Vino and Aqua's eyes will be on them as they move.
Yeah, but like you said, right, they have a distance to move. And so we'll see if they can make their way in. Going to use the river to go to the least congested side of the zone. A smart play from them as players are gliding in. Michael, though, has gone down. Astro having to be the carry in this team now. The sun's going down in Manchester a bit, so maybe some extra vision will be useful here for Astro.
He's trying to find anything right now. Madness, the desperation here. He has to focus on just topping off with them shields. Will be shield crack again. People might be able to hear it. Nope. Storm Surge, luckily, at the last second, turns off for under 50 players. We'll still see it again in that 7th zone. Has to go down all the way to 30. 15 more have to fall. It's Hen and Queasy all the way on high ground.
We saw them try for it last game, but it was Aqua who hit a massive shot onto Queasy.
Big thing with them too, last game, so many people got to save their mats, use the collider, and be beneath them. This game, Aqua Vino have the entire key card, the safe, the vault, and Tayson and Chapix have 3 pads. It's deja vu for Queasy and Hen. Again, they have a chance for height, but they have trouble lurking down below. Look at the comeback from Steady and Cammy. Absolute shambles. A collective 40 HP to now big mats and big items.
I'm just looking forward towards this fight for height. Right, we know who the main players are going to be in that regard.
And Chapix and Tayson have a geyser to be able to recycle with as well. They have effectively 5 launch pads this game.
We're seeing now Queasy and Hen aware of the pads being used, looking to try and catch some people out. Mustache will be the one to be caught out. Nothing he can do as he tried to recycle a pad. Queasy and Hen will take him out. You can see the pre-tarp as well. They need to start getting ready. Hen running into trouble in the
No
zone.
way.
No, he tried to recycle a pad, and it was the Siptos who was in his way. Hen gets taken out. Queasy again now in a cut situation.
This was supposed to be the game for Hen and Queasy to come back, to be able to just stay alive a little bit still. So maybe that 8th zone where the problems start to begin. 1,000 damage above Surge almost. It was perfect for their run all the way till this point in the game, but the comeback story almost put on halt. Desperation for Queasy to keep his head above high water, but it's getting just shoved right back down. Height chop as well. Tayson and Chapix are here, all launch pads out of the inventory and their feet on the high ground.
We knew they would go for it, and this is exactly where they've wanted to be. They've done so well without even being able to play high. Will they be able to take advantage in this game? Aqua and Vino still kicking it though, and so that's going to be a threat to their height.
Vino takes a big shot towards the mid-ground. Silence for the rest of the lobby as they try to dictate where to go next. Foki climbing up against Jackson down on the low ground. Meanwhile, the bottom right, Steady Cammy, the comeback of just nations, great nations. This is just nuts from them. The times I've seen them just down so bad in the mid-game and then coming back triple digits, close towards now 4th, even 3rd place. They might be able to take over Mustache and Malabuka if they get close to 150.
Yeah, they're cerebral down on low. They're looking to get to the front side, claim it as much as possible, create space to get some eliminations. Vino picking up eliminations. Aqua isn't in the game. Floki was the one he took out. And so now he needs to stay up. He needs to make sure that he claims as many points as possible if he wants to maintain their lead. Vino now scurrying his way through the backside of the zone. He does have some materials though to keep himself in it. He needs to protect himself. The wood coming out will be an incentive for Trulex and Chicho to keep on applying pressure. Can he stay up though? Chicho actually goes down to Reason. He got caught sleeping. And so that space will allow Vino some time to stay up in the game.
Meanwhile, all of Logan getting pinched to go up a hill, but it bounces back. Trulex, time to breathe. Reason, down for now. Looking to see exactly what he can do next. Cammy, in the business. Looking for the next shot. They have so much control of this low ground. Half these builds are almost all theirs. 8 teams, and they're one of them that are so comfortable.
All these teams, everything going down below, but you have to remember what's happening on height. Tayson and Chapix are just licking their lips, waiting for that opportunity for the final fight to seize the opportunity. Vino, still though, as a solo, making it so much more difficult for them to actually close the distance as he just continues to ramp up in the placement points. They do have their eyes set on him though, and so we'll see if Chapix can hit the shots needed. But Tayson just using the burst assault rifle for the pressure, applying it as much as possible. Vino's done so brilliantly to stay up though, but 3 builds left. Eventually his time is gonna have to come, but will it come before all these other teams fight? He's hitting shots when needed, staying hidden, cloaked.
9th zone with 7 teams. The bounce backs back and forth are keeping these solos who have no builds absolutely alive. Reason now, down to low HP. Decepto's desperate, goes down. Kiko inside the storm is just a force to be reckoned with. He's taking so much HP away from these players. Reason forced to use a little bit of that med mist he was saving for the heal off. Meanwhile, Andretta not going to be able to survive the zone. Lots of mats and more mists to pick up for Reason at the back. Vino somehow still alive in the top 5, looking for the next shot. His final build dropped down. He knows below there's just one player to deal with. There's only one duo alive right now. That's high ground. Looking to see what they can do down below. Slapped in the face. Vino will not be here for the rest of the game. It's Chapix in the face of Ju. He blocks off one of the shots, takes a trade down to just a little bit of big HP and shield still left. Ju at 17 builds on the low ground. Reason is displaying his own game. So many misses available. He's going all the way around. It might surprise them towards the end. This should be Tayson and Travis's game to hold, but Reason might have a surprise in just a second. Ju looking for the next shot. He's bolstered down. Reason in the back. He gets found out. Gonna be there with the harpoon. Gonna be there all the way towards the end is Ju in second place, but it's gonna be a Titans he has to take down on height.
Tayson, Chapix, this is their moment. A redemption arc for them. Can they close it out though? Ju needs to try and spoil the party, and maybe he's doing just that, but no, they will close it out. Chapix and Tayson presenting themselves to the world now as the victory royale of the 5th game. Chapix from out the mud, out the gutter after last season's performance. Tayson as well, looking for redemption, looking to reclaim his GOAT status. And this is exactly how you do it. A victory royale in the penultimate game and a smooth sailing victory.
And it's action in the shadows for all these teams. There's only one team in that limelight. One team that the winners of Game 5, Chapix and Tayson, are trying to catch up to. That's Aqua and Vino, who with Vino in that clutch towards the end are still so mighty high in points.
Look, Vino in that moment wasn't flashy, right? Didn't pick up back-to-back eliminations, hitting pump shot after pump shot, but staying alive in that game made it so much more difficult for these guys to close that gap.
What he was spiritual. This man had no mats, solo, 11th type of team slash place, and gets what, 3 bounce backs?
Yeah.
Who did he pray to? Who is he talking to?
Clearly,
behind the scenes?
Lord Shiowage of his own, blessing him in those moments. But look, we still have to put our focus on that team. They've been so consistent today, not been able to really play height the way they wanted to, but when the opportunity came for them, they took it, and they took it so well. We're going to kick it to the analysts, right? Because Reese foresaw all of this happening earlier in the game.
First off, before we can get to you, Reese, you need to fix your problems with Tayson, okay? I know you guys are beefing right now. Fix it, all right? This is put respect on Tayson's name. Reese, thoughts on this game?
I mean, amazing. Let's be real.
Oh, yeah.
When it comes to a finals performance, you can never, ever count out Tayson. You can never, ever count out Chapix. These two will always do it. I did see it early on, right? When I jumped in to interrupt our beautiful, handsome casters there, we obviously saw the fact that he got a pad early, he got tags early. But actually, this is the winning moment right here. Notice Tayson lands with a pad at the front moving side and starts cranking up. And look who's at the back side of the zone. Right there, that's Chapix. That's a perfect way that you can end up taking height. One at the front, one at the back, pinch up onto high ground.
Absolutely perfectly executed. We talked about so many different ways of taking height. Of course, Vino and Aqua, they have a little bit of a different strategy. They just pad on whoever's on high ground. But Tayson and Chapix, that experience really showing through right there. They're able to take high ground from the front side and the back side of zone, really claiming all of that real estate that we can see in the end game. They were able to drop down, pick up eliminations as well. And I believe it was only a 4 elimination victory for them in the end.
Yeah.
Not a massive victory, but a much needed victory for them, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, they were in third going into this, right? But it's like, this is a long way.
Yeah.
You've got one more day of games. You've still got another game today as well. It's about how many of these you can do super, super well and repeatedly. And a team that we saw, we've seen little bits of so far as Kamin say, right?
Yeah.
We've seen them do well in the leaderboards, but I feel like I haven't seen them do well, full stop.
Yeah, we haven't really seen too much of an absolutely outstanding performance from them, but I think what they've been able to do is they're able to pick up consistent placements, consistent refreshes when it matters most, and that is absolutely textbook stuff from them. We often see them popping off in day one, which is not something that we haven't seen that so far, but of course there is still one more game to go. They're picking up eliminations. There's definitely another game for them to pop off, and I think this zone was definitely a little bit more favorable for them because it was right on their backyard.
Yeah, absolutely. And in all honesty, I think they clutch us up so much. Remember we saw them padding or using the cannon, that was it, in the mid-game there.
Yeah.
Flying up with almost no HP. Shio was absolutely blown away about the fact that they didn't get shot out of the sky. But then they managed to get refresh in 5th zone. And that's so critical. You're going to see so many of the top teams, if they're down by like 50 materials, 50 builds each or something, they're going to go for that refresh at the 5th zone just before moving. And that sets them up perfectly.
Now we got to turn our attention to the standings. Here we go. Remember, we're playing 6 games today. We have the next 6 tomorrow for a total of 12. But we're going into this last game on just day number 1. If you're Vino and Aqua, you're feeling really good, right? I don't want to say they can throw this last game because that's not what I want.
No.
But at least they're feeling really good if this is where they ended on day 1.
Yeah, I mean, this is on par and on pace right now to actually break the match point. They've got 2 victory royales next, basically by game 11 tomorrow. If they have over 475 points and 3 victory royales, the tournament's going to end early. So they are on pace to do something absolutely monumental right now. But one of the things I'm finding interesting, right? Tayson and Chapix, like we mentioned, not actually moved up the leaderboard with that victory royale. That's how big of a gap Mustache and Malabuka had on them.
Yeah, absolutely. We're seeing different sort of rotations, early game, mid game, and of course that's something we wanted to highlight because of course there are plenty of players that are rotating at different times coming out of their drop spot. Now, one of which you picked up one really well, Reese, was of course Tayson rotating out really early on from their drop spot. They picked up the Storm Surge tags early, as you mentioned in the mid game package, and this just gave them the flexibility to use that Collider massive flying device in the middle of the map to rotate on out a lot earlier than other teams might have.
Yeah, this, you can't actually see the timer in the bottom right there, but that was in basically 2 minutes before the first, or sorry, 3 minutes before that first zone had fully closed. So they were set up in a position with plenty of time to take advantage of the teams moving. Vino and Aqua that we see right here, completely different story. They're in the second zone right now. This is almost 4 minutes later. They decide to leave their drop spot, but it all depends on what you've got around you, right? They have some rifts that they can use. They had tags earlier than that. All different types of different strategies.
Crazy stuff. That's why the stage is blue, by the way. We're just giving you guys all the inside, all right? That's what we're here for. That's our job. My goodness, this is the last game on the day here in EU. This is the finals. I'm telling you, this is it. We have one more game to set ourselves up going into tomorrow's games, and we come back for another 6, where we also crown new champions, returning champions. We'll have to wait and see. Right now, though, you guys got to find your seats on the battle bus. Grab the popcorn. This is game 6 of the EU FNCS finals. Day number 1. Game 6 time.
Well, Zeke, at the pace we're on now, we'll be crowning new champions, it looks like. We've seen domination from the likes of Aqua, Vino, Tayson, Chapix, Malibuka, Mustache have impressed as well. And if these guys can close out the day with other strong games, there's no doubt in my mind that they're going to come back tomorrow looking to do more of the same.
Yeah, they're on an island of their own right now when it comes to points, when it comes to the top 3. If you want a ticket to that island, high cost level, got to win a game, got to be double-digit elims, and one of these teams also has to go down.
Yeah, and we've seen from these games that's a very rare quantity. You can't rely on that happening. Ability to catch up is just so difficult, right? Even in that game, right, where Tayson and Chapix win, how do you catch up if the guy you're trying to catch is still just in the game, staying alive, even as a solo?
And it's Vino today. This guy specifically has not missed a single shot. Aqua has been more aggressive than we've ever seen before.
He's feeling it. He's back in that World Cup form. You know what I mean? There was a time when he was revered as like the best player in the game. And look, trying to get back into that shape.
Yeah, for the other people on the board, the 20th to 40th places for the rest of the lobby, a chance to change their destinies in this game 6, to have one of the best comebacks possible for day 2 and the 6 more games tomorrow.
Of course, right? We're all excited about some of the teams higher up in the leaderboard. But the potential for some of these teams lower down to surprise us in day 2 and show us that intention in this final game is very, very high. A lot of teams that have pop-off potential of their own, but this is not good at all. And Nas taking out Malibuka early doors.
Looks like it's even before the landing happens, before the feet even touch the ground. All up to Mustache now, and he has been the star player as of recent for this duo when it comes to the aggression and the elims within this tournament, within the latter games, specifically I think 4 or 3. The 16 rocking in, he had about 12 of them. We'll see what he can do with this type of loadout. Every option available for him to push forward with. Risky to go down. Let's see if Malibuka got to even touch where he wanted to go. Has a sniper to rock in with. After that, burst they are. Seen from the backside. Pink on his walls. Where does Anas kind of chomp from? The other way. Striker straight to the face.
You know, that's interesting, right? Because you saw where Malibuka went to land, right? He doesn't need to land on that side of top. He can just go to Blimp. They can play it safer, right? They're greeding for, what, an extra 2 henchman chests? Look, henchman chests are great. I don't mind a couple here and there. But with the loot they have on Blimp, the loot that's below the Blimp as well, if they just land Blimp, play it safe, we're talking about another game where they're upsetting the apple cart, pushing their way into contention with Aqua and Vino. Now, that journey just looks so much more difficult, and now we're even thinking about Tayson and Chapix really starting to separate from those guys as well.
So game 6, though, that's where some of the changes happened in that 2-day format. And we've also seen, you know, issues off spawn for both Anas, Pink, and Mustache, Malibuka specifically. Maybe one person gets taken out, they still all make the end game. I think 1 out of 5 games so far that's been a thing. Right now, Refsguard very frustrated with how his off-spawn story has been going. Actually diving, grabbing in, and proactively taking shots. Usually, it's a waiting game. You can see the distress on Asvi's face, unfortunately. Both him and Siren go down. Resguard and Clown do not want to fool around anymore.
Yeah, closing this fight out much quicker than the previous games. We saw last game, this fight lasted a century. I actually grew up, graduated uni, had children, got married. My children graduated uni as well in the time it took for the fight to close out. This time though, making it quick, nice and easy.
How are the grandkids?
Well, on the way.
I was about to say, you could have claimed like one player, saying like, oh, he's playing right now.
Who's my son in this lobby? I think my son would be Pink.
Really?
Yeah, that's my son.
That's your son?
Yeah.
Would he be cool with you saying that too? Like you guys have that type of close relationship?
He's fuming if I said that. I don't care.
Respectfully.
You know what? You know who else is my son?
Who?
Hen. Hen, that's my son as well.
Yeah.
They're all my sons. Tayson's my son as well, actually. They're all my sons, man. All of them, they're my sons.
Family reunion must be a lot of fun, you know?
Not
Thanksgiving?
really.
Not really.
Nah.
I mean, the interviews look good.
Oh, thank you. Can't wait to hop back in the lobby with all those guys. Yeah.
You wore the same shirt for the whole week, yeah?
For a whole month.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Just that
Crazy.
shirt.
Look at this. Photosai Snazy. I mean, they did not expect this once again on day one. We talked about it a few games ago. They were expecting some sort of turbulence on the flight of finals for the last 6 games, but so far the cabin's been a little bit of a rocky ship, and this is the first time that an advantage, it seems like, off of spawn.
We talked about how much of a surprise it was for them. Many of people expected Photosai and Snazy to be a huge contender to push into the top 5, maybe even win it all with some luck going their way, but that's not been the case. And with Flois and Mappy now giving them issues here, it looks further and further from being a possibility. Mustache, on the right of your screen. Was it Mustache that went down in the first place, or am I bugging?
It's always a flippity floppity. I think it was Malibuka that went down immediately. Mustache, I was talking about, oh, you know, man has 12 elims, 16 elims, now it's up to him again. That's how I remember, you know?
Okay.
It's the one-liners.
If not, somebody in Twitch chat will let you know. Probably.
I'll check the Reddit threads.
Yeah.
You know how it goes.
Someone will let you know.
Yeah.
Tasting though, picking up some eliminations on
2 pads!
Yeah, look, you get 2 pads from the Kaida, right?
But like, there's other teams there, man. What are they doing?
They just took out the other team. That is Vico and Jackson, you know? They just...
But it seems so easy. What is this?
It is easy for them. Look at this. Oh, wow. Yeah.
This man is a shooter. Mega super nice IGL fragger extraordinaire and a gymnast, apparently. A gymnast, apparently.
Look,
circus freak. Like, what is this?
He made Vico look like easy work. But look, do not be fooled. Vico is a top up-and-coming German player. A great fighter, but against the mighty Tayson, everybody looks average at times, you know?
I mean, you got to be proud.
Yeah, look, I'm proud of my son. I am proud of him. And Zeke, we did fix our beef. We fixed our issues. So...
Don't even need to go into details.
Don't need... Look, it was actually Mama Tayson. She sorted it all out. Made sure everything was good, you know?
Very nice. You see over here, Rabbit and Fnyayan specifically, right? I think their issues have just been with the vibe of EU overall. They picked the storyline, which is very tragic. The first game wonders. Really good. I think they had 70 points, 50, 60 points coming in, more than half. And now by game 6, in trouble, man.
Yeah, you can see they clearly want to get back involved in this fight towards the Joneses. We saw them here earlier in the day. They sort of eased off it a bit, but once they started to ease off, a bit less fortune. You can see how patient they are, lining up the headshot.
Come on.
Oh,
what?
I would have taken it there.
Do it. Whoop.
Do it.
There's something they don't know.
Come on, do it. He's waiting to just line up like a triple headshot.
There's just no way.
He wants double headshot.
Nice. Triple.
I love it.
See, the thing is, Bubak healed up so much. I'm wondering if he just did it so much earlier. He might have the advantage, but Fnyayan's just rolling in. Clearly knows way more than we do. He is just making sure the pressure does not stop. Bubak now in trouble. The pinch is coming in from Rabbit as well, so far away. Make sure Fury gets locked down. It's all about interrupting. We've seen these plays with the zip lines before. He's just trudging like a tank, like an armored train, straight towards his enemy, but Fury stops him in his tracks.
I love the patience from them. And even then, after all that damage, they're not just pushing into it. They know Saban and Yapko are still there. They know there's two teams that they can't afford to overextend. I'm loving it. Really nice work from them.
That patience. We would have messed that up completely.
Yeah, we would have shot instantly and just went down. 100%.
Oh, man. The way these players can also just end up staying together, too. It looks so basic in terms of plays that happen in the snap of a finger when both players are also just rolling around doing perfect pinches. It's very difficult to actually execute on the fly like that, especially at the Joneses.
Yeah, 100%. You have to have really great communication, something that those two clearly have had. Thomas and Triffin almost have become like the forgotten Cavern team with all the success we've seen from some of the others. They've slipped under the radar, but 7th place is not too shabby whatsoever, especially with there being another day. Mustache is doing a great job of trying to stay in the game, but there is still a team here.
It's Pinkin and us.
Yeah, they're not letting him breathe. Pinkin and us do often stay late anyway,
Yeah.
right? So it's not surprising to see them deep here in the zone. But of course, some added incentive with Mustache lurking around.
Oh,
they just scanned him. They know he's here. He can't get out. The armored wall will come.
It's on both sides.
He
He
needs
has to be able to.
through his own one.
Yeah, this is just the test of time, and they can hear him clanging on it. So 2 pickaxes versus 1,
Yes.
and they're already on his walls. Nowhere to go. A flick from Pink, and he is gone.
That is so tough. They saw or they heard the armored wall, and from there, it was wraps. We'll see what they can pull out here. Some interesting stuff in terms of how will they get to zone. It'll be fun to watch how they go about it.
Oh, wow.
Aqua and Vino were there as well.
Following them. They're just taking track of what's going on around the map. They can see the Elam happen to understand now the pace of the game. They're just checking the timer. Meanwhile, completely different form of what it looks like to be a Cavern team. Thomas and Trippern active, looking for a quick fight. You mentioned it, they like to move early.
We're seeing the benefits of that now all the way towards the south of Tilted. In a box fight that they are very comfortable in. Bad Sniper at DKS ain't been too hot.
This is where we saw Steady and Cammy before base up and look for a few surge shots. Wondering where they are in this game. Joins the Andy. I think one of the most impressive performances we're seeing so far today. The way they locked in their ticket to finals from the quals in that game 6. The way they're in top 5 right now as well. Fighting us one over and over. Nice slide back shot straight into Mr. Bad Sniper. Thomas HD gets all that loot.
They've moved up into 6th place now. Slowly but surely working their way up. Again, this is a team who very much has a lot of the same power level, you'd say, maybe, as Aqua and Vino. They have the potential to be performing how they were. Like, in terms of, like, the way this lobby's playing out, if you swap them on the leaderboard, I'd believe it, you know? I'd be like,
Really?
oh, yeah, it makes sense, you know? Half the games, they get the vault loot, the other half,
The other
Aqua and
team.
Vino
Yeah,
get it,
yeah.
you know? It's like, you could see it going either way. I think this is probably the one season where Thomas isn't as much of a favorite as usual. Still is definitely considered by many a top team, a team that should get top 5, but not an all-out favorite for the overall win as he has been in previous seasons past.
You can see the comeback from Steady Cammy. Saying they're, you know, kind of, what, a day 1 team overall? Like, in terms of previous FNCSs, that's where their power is?
Well, that's what it was always in the
past.
past, right?
Yeah, yeah. So they're staying true to it. Might have missed a few games earlier on, but triple digits in the last 2 games almost, right? Like that is huge in terms of the comeback.
Yeah, they've caught up. They've caught up, and they haven't really missed a beat since doing so, right? Like you said earlier, the top 5 right now literally just looks like everybody's prediction list from Twitter this morning. So we'll see if it holds.
Oh, Aqua down to Noah Riley. Something we were expecting at the start of this day, just the beginning of these games. It's finally coming to fruition.
Vino as a solo now. Very, very early on.
Huh?
Giannis, how? Hello? Vino? Hello?
I say, so he missed the bullets. They wrapped around the entire Earth and hit Giannis in his box somewhere.
I don't get this guy, man. Like, how is he? Like, how? He's not going to get the elimination, right? Because Vortex can just revive, and he already has, but... Okay. Damage is good for Surge, and he is playing as a solo now, so he'll need to do a lot more damage, twice as much. Assuming everybody shares the Surge load evenly, which isn't the case, we know, but... For the sake of story, we'll call it that way. Janice and Vortex making their way into zone now.
Looking good while doing it. They've attracted the attention of one of the teams that's actually inside zone. That'll be Benji and Savage they're kind of rattling towards, and being one of the noisiest teams, many different sight lines and POVs will be looking to damage them as they move in. They're looking aggressive for this fight though, so might be something they're lacking. It might be damage overall. It might just be some type of loop, but Benji and Savage have already moved so far away underneath Tayson and Chapix.
Yeah.
And Dreda as well in terms of a base is one of the high ones.
It'll be interesting to see, right? Because you saw they were there positioned near the collider. I know Reese had a conversation with Janice about what their strategies for moving around the map would be in terms of Surge. And Janice did say they'd often look to try and make use of that collider to see if they could get around the map. And so if they position near it, that would be nice. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Tayson.
See, as good as that is, though, if Vito's in that position, he has an elimination.
Yeah, Vino would have got the knock there for sure. But he's getting the revive. Look.
Yeah.
He's revs. So
Aqua's back, but every team will hear that, and I think they know exactly where Vino is for the moment. I know Janice and Vortex know specifically, and some other teams are already behind them in terms of positioning. They should hear that reboot ban go off. It'll be very difficult for Aqua to find his way back into this game. If they somehow make top 5 in this game 11, I will be madly impressed.
I wouldn't even be surprised. I personally wouldn't be surprised. That is the caliber of team they are. That's how they've been playing today. It would not surprise me one bit if they were able to crawl their way back in this game. Kami and Seti though.
Wow. What a wave. This is the angle to be able to take out those many builds, have that much more of an open sightline, have the knowledge to do that. Just amazing from Seti and Kami.
Very experienced players. Know what they're doing in these situations. Cheat Show and Trulex. Another team that's known what they've been doing. We've seen them deep in many of these games playing mid-ground. Last game really was their time to shine on mid-ground without Malibuka and Mustache there. And this game will very much be a similar sort of beat where they will have free reign over what happens on those layers. Don't have to worry about the pre-editing plays of Malibuka and Mustache, who maybe jump on that wave themselves.
Stakes for this game currently as we find our way going closer towards the later portions. It is the final game of day number 1 overall. The team in the lead, Vino and Aqua on your screen, ahead by what seems to be almost 50, 60 points overall. They're doing so good on the day so far. A lot of teams want them to go down before the top 25 so they can catch up. Their mission is to get close to that top 15, the top 10, but currently with Medkit, Small Fries, they're wondering who should have more HP going in towards the end game. They're the final boss the lobby can't really seem to take down. This is the maximum limit of our top 10, Scram and Hellfire. Looking at their POV, everyone in the top 10 just wants to win more currently, be consistent. If you're top 10 right now, you want to be top 10 in this game and maintain where you are on the leaderboard. For everyone else, you want that big catch-up. You want the victory royale. If you're in the bottom 40, you want the best possible thing in terms of just points at this moment. You want to take the biggest risks. Meanwhile, the best teams in the lobby want to play reserve. So we should see some very opposite yin-yang action all the way towards the end. Desperation versus just patience.
And we're seeing a lot of that, right? A lot of those teams have been able to stay in this one. Joe and Ziandi here, positioned well, looking for the spray. And maybe we'll be able to connect. Joe sneaking some shots in there. And he's not done just yet. Looking for more. And running low on the ammo though, right? Doesn't have much in the reserve.
Doesn't have much for damage either. 152 below is what The update is for the moment, but every time I jump the gun on it,
I was gonna say, man, hold
I was-
horses.
I was
bro.
just making the call there. I was like, I know things now. Apparently, I'm still as dumb as I am before.
Trust me,
It's all good.
I'm mad jaded when it comes to that stuff. I've done it many a time.
174, it's good. Jackson, it seems like he's had such a terrible day so far in terms of just being able to survive and thrive, but I think the reason I remember his name is because we see him in almost every single 8th zone, Levin. He's living till the end of the game.
Jackson's done brilliantly here, right? We saw early in the game Tayson taking out Vico in a very flashy way, to say the least. But Jackson did well to stay alive as a solo. It's not often that you can get away in those situations.
Most impressive thing, as a solo, staying ahead of Surge. As a solo, having this much of a base and a lot of mats still left in the reservoir.
We'll see how far he can go, of course. It's never going to be easy. See Clement now and Floki making their way in. We've seen them struggle in some of these games, but coming up against Seti and Kami doing big damage. Getting so close as well to actually taking them out. The sprays come through, they're dropping them down. They want to close it out, and they have. They pick Seti up. Kami has to be a solo now. And a key, crucial couple of shots there from Floki and Clement, the Frenchies. And Kami barely escaping as well.
That is just literally the perspective of desperation versus patience. Kami said he just want to move on, get along, get to the next position. They're not really looking at who's really around them. They're thinking about how to win and just be able to stay inside that top 5, top 10, be consistent in the game. Meanwhile, Floki, Clement, 72 points so far behind, looking to get the frags first, looking to get as many points on the board from the position that they can, take it step by step.
We're going to see a lot of these teams now starting to have their struggles. Zara won't be able to out-heal Storm Surge for much longer.
Tayson taking out Aqua inside the feed, so he's really trying to
Pino
grab
down as well.
towards the top, so they're frozen. I said they need to go down before top 25. They go down in 27th overall, it looks like. So a chance for these top 3 on their own islands to catch up. I think the goal is about 215 points that team needs to hit.
This is an opportunity for Tayson and Chapix to really put themselves in a good position going into tomorrow. Can they close that distance?
Pink and Anas are also all the way towards the top, right above them in heights. 110 points for Hellfire and Scram. They're not going to be that upper echelon we're looking at. If we can get an update to see these top teams, how close are they for the moment? These guys are actually really close. Hellfire, Thomas HD. So there's a fight right now between the top 3, trying to claim who can be the king of VU before day 2. And then after that, a fight in that bottom 5 to all the way to 10th. It's a 10-point almost differential as to who can be inside the highest money so far going into day 2.
Yeah, you can see already the classic posturing towards height that we'll see in these games. Pink and Anas will just peek there for the moment, right?
It's costly to take out Mustache and Malabuka off spawn. It leaves you possibly sometimes just as a solo. Here's Tayson and Chapix's POV, 171 points. They're about 40 behind so far.
They can very much recycle that pad. You can see running in, they have all the chunk splashes in the world as well. So they can just use this and start to have some height dreams. Will anybody turn them into nightmares? You can see there is somebody vying for it. Tayson though, choosing now, it's not the time. But who is it? Noah Riley, Vidil. Is this going to be their typical one-game wondrous win? Will this be the time? They have height, and I don't think there's many other teams in this one that can really pose a threat to them, who will really look to try to take it from now. So if they can hold on, Vidil has so many materials, it looks very, very possible, Shayo.
So high in the sky, and that low ground can only really get higher. So their perspective right now is just very, very powerful. Meanwhile, though, down at low ground, same story, different day. Thomas HD in the clutch seat.
Thomas tripping in the zone, in the back of the zone, not able to hit the shots. Thomas, he goes down. Kami also just lurking, picks up Shizo as he runs his way into the zone. We saw how he went down, but he's able to stay in the game, and he's looking rather strong even for a solo.
There's still move, Chapix and Tayson on second height. Chapix gets dropped, Tayson follows. They're actually just switching layers, going straight to low ground. What a call to make up in second place. They're just trying to do something very creative here and dodge all the pressure.
And you can see they've claimed the front side of the low ground. This is going to be such a great position for them to claim as many eliminations as humanly possible. As we see another fight for higher ground, we wondered whether Vidil and No Riley would hold on to it. Stompy and Ju look to try and test them, but a test that they pass, they hold on.
So high to grab, and it doesn't cost Vidil anything, barely even used any mats. That's the key so far. And Dreda has a solo down below. Top 12 right now. What does he want to do in terms of the end of day one? Get more points. Is it possible? With no materials, with no chance, with no perspective. I want to wait, but it's a duo he has to fight. He goes down.
Crushed Andretta beneath the lobby. Chicho and Trulex. I said this was their chance to try and dominate in the mid-ground without Malibuka and Stash here. We're seeing Tayson and Chapik do a very similar thing. 4 eliminations thus far. Joe now is a solo. Doesn't have the firepower of Yandy with him, but has his own firepower. Hitting a huge shot onto Shrekky. Can he hit more though? Needs to find some space, calm down a bit. And that breathing room will be just what he needs to get his HP back up.
Chapix now all the way down to maximum. Low is going to be the ultimate chance for him to gain some control, but Clown and Refsguard are there. They splinter the second team in half. Going to be unfortunate for them to keep moving. Just Tayson as a solo. Looks like Chapix might have had a lot of the mats, so he was desperate to get some more. He has to now do this with just 200 wood.
And at the same time, No Riley Vidil still applying all that pressure. Clown and Refsguard looking to try and find their feet on the low ground. Refsguard running his way on in. Joe, he's just trying to stay inconspicuous. Doesn't want anybody to spot him out. Clown though has lost Refsguard. It's Stompy in the zone. They're going to clash heads. He needs to hit a big shot. The 70 isn't going to be enough, but Kefi will go down. Melody is going to follow soon as well. Low on the HP. The meat coming out, and he does claim the splashes, he does see it, but the refresh is coming in. The med mist as well. He has the tools to stay in the game if he needs to, and that's exactly what he has to do with low materials.
Tayson also, same situation, less splashes, more mist. He starts to move way in the backside of the zone. Vidil senses something wrong. He's looking back there for these teams, for these solos, just misting away inside the storm. Big shot from Tayson, narrowly misses Clown's head, going for the haircut, but doesn't find anything from the scalp. Clown now looking back for the next shot. Tayson blocked off from all sides, looks for the prediction, but no, Clown goes down. No siphon for him. Tayson is gone. To the final 2v2, Marine, Rifla, Vidil, Noah Riley, big shot from Vidil. You talk about their crazy game. They're going maniacal with this one. Slide jump from Vidil to close it out. Rifla goes down, and they make it look spectacular at the end of game 6.
Simply breathtaking from Noah Riley and Vidil. They're always good for one, Shayo. At some point, regardless of how the day is faring, they will always get their one victory royale and do it in spectacular fashion as well. A beautiful final shot here from Vidil onto Rifler, and a nice victory royale to really set the standards going into tomorrow.
Anger released, it feels like. All the qualms off Spawn from the start of the day, the issues with Surge even sometimes, they relieve it at the end of day one.
A team that surprised us all by their choice of where to land today, but very much paying off finally by game 6, and we'll see whether they can hold on to that. But Shire, the things we saw from Tayson and Chapix. Tayson staying in the game as a solo, doing his best to try and catch Vino and Aqua. It's been a crazy 6 games, but I can't wait to close it out tomorrow.
Absolutely. So far, that was a catch-up game, a change-up game. Give it as many C names as you want. I want to see exactly what the desk has for this one. It's been a phenomenal day so far.
You're right, Shy Wager. That's 6 games. I feel like I blinked and they're just gone, but still incredible games to say the least. And I gotta say that the biggest factor, as they kind of mentioned, was Aqua falling down early, right? Our team in first place, coming in incredibly strong here, but they dropped so early that everyone else has that opportunity to catch up.
Yeah, we saw him actually get rebooted at one point, and then this is the second time we're going to see them go down. A rough rotate trying to get to 5th. Like, because of the fact that they ended up rebooting, that loses you a ton of your heals, your time, your materials, all this kind of stuff, because you got to split it off to your duo, and then that leaves you in kind of a scuffed position. We saw they didn't have a launch pad there. Normally, these guys would be way more stacked to loot, be able to pad out.
Yeah, it really does. It sets you back in your game. You know, you're not able to pick up the tags, you're not able to pick up the loot that you've gained from getting those eliminations early on, and they were just sort of left behind, you know. They were behind in the meta, if you like, from everyone else. They were already sorted, they were already ahead inside the zone, and unfortunately for them, it didn't quite work out. But they've given themselves enough of a buffer so that tomorrow, they don't have to worry too much.
You also got to think, another top team who's in first, Mustache and Malibuka, I'm pretty sure they're still in first. They went down early there too. So the clutch from Tayson that we just saw is even more impressive now.
I love that you bring up Tayson, because we got to talk about him, right? Their performance in game number 6. Again, this is just to set us up for tomorrow, right? The last 6 games tomorrow will see a winner. But talk to me about this right here.
I mean, realistically, we saw what I would say is a hilarious movement from Chapik, right? We saw him drop down to low ground. He was duck, dip, diving all the way around to try and avoid whatever shots. I'm not entirely sure actually how he managed to get down there because we saw Tayson on quite a good mid-ground layer at that point. Regardless, whatever it was, that allowed Tayson then to set up the solo clutch, right? We've seen the top Titans, the top teams, everyone who was up there on the leaderboard drop out and this was it. There's the
there
movement.
it is. Yep.
He was trying to get back with the splashes into zone to get them some more placement. But again, that setup Tayson there left as the solo to clutch up into, what was that, third place?
Yeah, third place for Tayson right there. Of course, he had the splashes as well, as did Chapix. Of course, not quite able to use them in the right time, but Tayson was, and he was able to use them at the perfect moment just to get those extra few placements. He picked up a med miss right there at the end as well, so just able to squeeze a few extra points, a few extra placements out of that last game, and a really, really solid performance from them today, and definitely one that they can pick up with tomorrow and, you know, have a really good day.
Absolutely. Look, I'm looking forward to the next 6 games tomorrow. That's what's going to be really exciting.
Dude, think about it, a full data reset to go back and say, okay, what did we do differently? What can we bring coming into day number 2? I'm looking forward to it. We also got to talk about the game winners, though. No Riley and Vidil, now uncontested, finally able to say, look, we're going to take high ground. We want to win a game.
I mean, this is big for them, right? Because, I mean, as Shayo beautifully and poetically mentioned, they win a game every single finals, right? They're always there. They're always up in the name. I'm used to it being, you know, like a 10, 15 elimination. I think, to be honest, the last couple seasons, we haven't really seen that from them as much. I genuinely think these guys have actually struggled to frag out, which is surprising. If you know anything about Noah and Vidil, these guys are two of the best fighters in the region. But I just think in FNCS, they've not actually managed to pull it all together yet. But this game is a really good first step because they were starting to trail behind, right? This is a team that should be in the top 10.
Yeah, it's absolutely right. They've always been a little bit more timid this season, and maybe previous seasons as well. They haven't quite been able to pop off as we would expect them to. But, you know, what I really like about these guys is they're able to turn it on when it matters most. When they're on that high ground, more often than not, they are more than capable of getting the victory royale. And as we've seen right there, a lot of the hype teams, a lot of the big teams were out, so the door was wide open for them to pop off.
Big old catch-up game, man. It's a very scary time. We don't want to find ourselves in that spot, but here we are. Let's take a look at the standings together. We'll talk through it with our casters, with all the friends here. Aqua and Vino right now leading the pack. Okay, I want to come to you first, Levin. How are we feeling about this? There is a lead there, but that fall early kind of just tripped them up a little bit.
I do think they have clearly shown why they're considered the biggest favorites coming into the competition.
Sure.
From a personal standpoint, Shayo knows how much pain I've been feeling today. I don't want to just say this to say this, but right before the game started, right before the show started, I said to Shayo, should I change my prediction to Vina Aqua? he was like, nah, stick with it. I was like, you know what?
Oh, come on.
I'll stick with it.
I said it's either follow your tactical mind, which was Mustache Malabuka, or your heart that was yearning for Vino Aqua. Clearly, man, you got some nice emotions.
Look, it is what it is. Look, I'm sticking with my boys, though. I've been impressed. We saw on the leaderboard, a lot of it literally just looks like everyone's prediction list. We've been saying it. So many of the teams we expected to do well have been doing well.
That's right, coming in, man. It looks really good, especially going into day number 2. I got to say as well, I mean, Minnie, how are we feeling about this?
Well, surprised, actually. I'm talking about Joe and Zed Andy. I mean, I didn't really expect them to be this high up on the leaderboard. They're 4th right now, and it clearly shows how they're having a really, really solid time off spawn so far. Down at the sign-up station. This is, I think they call it Zed Andy Station, I think. I think that's the name.
I think he calls it
He
that.
calls it that. Okay, maybe we should start calling it collectively. I think it probably is, yeah,
for sure. We'll take a look at our predictions. Remember, these are the teams we think could walk away tomorrow as FNCS champions. Hen and Queasy, they haven't been doing so well. They are your reigning FNCS champions, but I think, look, tomorrow they come back, maybe look better. Maybe there was just something off today. Maybe you have to go back, VOD review, come back stronger tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they just have to fix their rotations, you know, the way they play endgame, their drop spot, their
crosshair
placement, communications, their ability to pop off. Just a few things to fix, Deacon. I think
not a lot.
Not a lot. Just one or two.
Yeah. So now that we kind of have the standings ready for us, I just want to kind of go across the board here just super quickly. Tell me your expectations going into tomorrow.
Well, I'm talking about my own prediction, of course, Tayson and Chafix. I'm expecting them to do more of the same, you know, picking up on games where maybe some of the other top teams aren't quite doing as well, and maybe thinking like, okay, we can play consistent. We can also play high ground when it matters most and when we have the opportunity, but hopefully they will be consistent across the 6 games tomorrow, and that's my goal.
Look, 2 things are going to happen tomorrow. Someone's going to win, but it's going to be a shake-up. Top 3 teams are already in there, but it's going to be a battle all the way down to that last game. You hear me? Last game it's going to go down to. And also, we've got someone in the top 5 right now that I think is going to just choke on day number 2. It happens every single time. I don't think it's going to be any exception.
Yeah,
think
I mean,
so?
I'll keep it short and sweet. It'll be an island, like Reese said, for the top 3, battling it the whole day. I think Vino and Aqua might get stopped, though. People are going to start bothering what they do. Past that, one of the teams from the top 5 will take first. The most consistent one, Steady Cami. It's been said. I've watched this FNCS like last week. I don't think you guys have seen the futuristic VOD. So,
Yeah.
So what's actually going to happen? Don't listen to that waffler. 6 games tomorrow. 5 of them, Malibu Mustache, 20 elimination victory outs.
Okay.
I'm going home.
Oh, yeah.
Chef kiss.
Should
I'm
I get
going
my
home.
glasses for you? 'Cause you're
The rose-colored glasses. You love to see it. Guys, thank you so much. Day number 1 was absolutely insane. But now we turn our attention to day number 2. Don't forget, come back tomorrow, same time. 6 games, 1 FNCS champion. Legends Landing, thanks for having us. We appreciate y'all. And as always, we'll see y'all on the Battle Bus.
even though I don't always have this great of an attitude, but you know, I'm working on it.
I feel like streaming is huge, and just like people like showing your personality.
There's just no feeling that comes close to that.
Just shower every day, just once a day. That's all it takes.
Like anything can happen, to be honest.
What is the optimal shower frequency for performance? It's crazy. That's a question.
I like to go at least once a day when I'm waking up, and yeah, just feel good and not dirty. Yeah.
I try to shower at night because like when I wake up and I shower, like it just makes my like hands feel weird, and I usually play bad.
I think it's once a day. It's really good.
I usually shower like once a day, usually right before I get on, so I'm refreshed.
Definitely once a day, minimum. I know there's some gamers that do not do that. I know that for a fact.
Is there any underrated duo that you think could have a breakout performance?
Glaze and Trashy are doing really good right now, and I feel like they're working hard and they're placing, and I think they could do good.
I think Dubs and Mega are gonna have a very good season. I think people aren't thinking as highly of them.
Oh my god, me too. And Shadow 1X is gonna do really good in this FNCS.
Joji and Rokane, they're not really underrated, but I think for comp-wise, like they've been doing really good, and people kind of overlook them.
What's the most effective way to make a name for yourself in the community?
To be honest, just like do all your socials and just try to place as high as you can.
Probably just placing in cash cups mostly.
Like people really look out for like solo tournaments, especially for like looking for like a new duo. Like people want to see how you can do like by yourself.
Just know that you're really good if you stream every event and plays well.
Everyone roots for the underdog, so if you're making a name for yourself, FNCS is the place to do that.
How did it feel getting your best placement in the FNCS Grand Final? I got my best placement in Season 5 in Trios, and it felt great because I never did really good in a big team mode.
Third place in squad meta, so that was Chapter 2, Season 1, and that whole FNCS was very fun. I love squads. I wish we have it again someday.
First time, it was pretty good. You know, I got second like 4 times in a row, but so like towards the end, it was a little annoying.
It honestly felt really well, but at the same time really sad because I could have like won a lot more. And
when you see the leaderboard and then you're, I don't know, first place, it's always like just the best feeling ever.
Who's your role model?
I really look out for Bruga, one of the best players in his story is really, really good.
Like everyone hypes me up and says like what I'm capable of, so it's honestly myself.
All like the Liquid people like Chap, Tom, Poach, like all of them, they're like super inspiring. Like you can do comp and keep content going as well.
Probably a tennis player like Roger Federer, who has like been on top for a long time and has a great attitude.
So back in the day, I was watching Apex, Temper, Fakey, and fast forward to today, I'm on their org, and that's the most ridiculous thing ever. It's amazing.
What's up, Fortnite fam? The new season means new loadouts for FNCS. Let's break down some of the most common loadouts based on your role in your duo, starting with the IGL.
The in-game leader, or IGL, is responsible for calling and mapping out your rotations, guiding your teammate, and often tarping. The IGL holds a vital role in guiding the team to victory. A proper loadout is a huge key to that success. This season, we have seen them focus on having one close-range weapon and one distance weapon for surge tags, and the remainder of the items will be heals. The most common loadout is the drum shotgun, first assault rifle, and then a variation of heals to fill the remainder of the slots. This combo, however, doesn't cover everything, but that's why you have a fragger on your team as well.
The fragger is responsible for getting crucial tags and eliminations throughout your game. Now, the loadout of the fragger is all about fighting and ending fights quickly. This is why we often see that the burst assault rifle is swapped out for the combat SMG. Meaning that in this role, you'll hold 2 weapons designed exclusively for close-range engagements, while the rest of the slots are dedicated to heals. The fragger loadout often includes the striker pump shotgun, the combat SMG, and then a variation of heals. The ability to clean up fights quickly and effectively leads to this loadout being a top pick among the more aggressive players.
After hearing the different loadouts and roles, which ones are you choosing in your next game? Until next time, we'll see you on the battle bus. Beep, beep.
Welcome to the FNCS NA East Chapter 3 Season 2 Finals. Thousands of duos started out to claim the Axe of Champions. Only 50 now remain. This weekend, they will battle it out over 12 games to find the ultimate winners. Booga and Miro, back-to-back FNCS champions, will be defending their title against heavy hitters, Canada and Agers. Both duos are known for their strong performances in FNCS finals, so will definitely put on a good show. Underdogs Peterbot and Baila had a very dominant showing in Qualifier 1, which secured them instant qualification. You'll usually find them in a very strong spot at Collider, with 3 to 4 contested areas around them, making for some spicy Storm Surge plays. FNCS NA East Finals Day 1 starts now.
All right, Fortnite fans, this is it, the big one. It is time for FNCS Finals NAE Day number 1. It's showtime. Hello there and welcome in, folks. It is officially here, FNCS Finals. My name is Adam Savage. I am delighted to be your host. What is going to be an incredible weekend of Fortnite action. The stars have aligned. That's right, we have our fabulous 50 duos competing this weekend. 6 games today, 6 games tomorrow, by the end of which the team with the most amount of points are going to walk away with the Axe of Champions. It is going to be incredible. You are here along for the ride. Now, as well, we have the POIs we're going to talk through, we're going to unfold. The teams we think can go all the way to the very top, but some very exciting news as well. Now, of course, if you are in the Toronto area, listen to this. Tomorrow, FNCS NAE Day 2 is going to be broadcast at the Cineplex Movie Theatre in Toronto. We're going to be on the big screen. It's amazing. If you're in the Toronto area, make sure to find out about it. It's the first time on the FNCS that's happened. So exciting. You can find out on the Chapter 3 Season 2 blog all about how you can be involved if you're in the Toronto area. And of course, as well, if you're watching Legends Landing, hello. Good to see you guys as well. You can find out loads more about that on the Epic Discovery Road. Now, as I said, it's all going to come your way. We're going to break down everything for you guys. But it's not just me, of course. The entire squad are here. Let's bring out the analysts. It's Vivid and SPG. Oh my gosh, they're amazing. Oh, you biggest fan. Guys, it is good to see you here. What is up? What is I'll take that. Anyway, guess what, guys? FNCS Finals. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Let's go.
But honestly, the last four, this is the 4th week now. We've had qualifiers, we had semi-finals last weekend, and now we're here for finals. Finally, SPG, it's happening. The top 50 duos going head-to-head for the amazing prize that is the Axe of Champions. They must be going through it all right now. But how are you feeling being here on the stage, being here for finals?
I'm super excited. We have the best teams in the region about to go head-to-head. 50 duos, and we're going to see who's coming out on top tomorrow. But we have to get there first. We have some awesome gameplay ahead of us. I'm super excited. What about you, Vivid?
Got to be the most excited I've been for an FNCS yet. The in-person vibes with the crew, unmatched. I get to share this experience in person with everybody. I cannot wait to kick off the action.
It's going to be absolutely amazing. And as we say, you guys are always, you have a front row seat to all the action as well. So make sure to keep the hype alive online as well. We love hearing from you guys. Now, let's go through a few things. First and foremost, the broadcast schedule. Check this out here. I've got a slightly small screen. Maybe you can see it. I don't know if you can. Just squint your eyes. It's actually massive. You can see. You can't miss it here. Qualifiers 1, 2, and 3 happened right at the beginning of our competition here. Then we had semi-finals last weekend. And of course, now here in the bold red, you can see May 28th and 29th. That is right now. That is finals. As we mentioned, 6 games today and 6 games tomorrow as well. That's the schedule. But let's talk about the format of the show as well. Vivid, walk us through, baby.
Guys, come on. We've been through 3 weeks of this FNCS so far. Now find ourselves in this 4th weekend. We've been through 3 qualifying rounds and then 3 amazing semifinal sessions, also that we can find the best 50 duos on the region and bring them here to the finals. Now, this is a 2-day format, 6 games each day. And at the end of this weekend, the cumulative leaderboard will be set forth, showed to you guys. And at the end of that, we will finally have our FNCS champions. But like I mentioned, the points are what are important. How are they going to be getting those points?
So let's talk about it. We have placement and elim points. Placement are all what you see right here, and we get Elim points. It's 3 points per Elim. We've seen some teams rack up some massive games, even just in EU. That was wild.
Yeah.
But it's not just Elims, it's placement as well. You're getting those starting at 35th. You accumulate them all the way up to that victory royale that everyone's trying to get at 32 points. Now, it's a little different here, Vivid. We're playing 12 games over the next 2 days. If tomorrow someone reaches 475 points and has 3 victory royales, that's it. They are our FNCS champions. But what are they playing for, Adam?
Well, that's right. Let's talk about the money. That's right. Here it is right here. This is exactly what they're playing for in this region. NA East in red here, $637,500. That is a lot of cheddar. That's a lot of money. You can see here the breakdown as well. Even if you place 46th through 50th at the back of the pack here, still $1,000. You walk your way through here in 10th position. You can see 10,000. Then it really starts to ramp up in 5th, 40, then 56, 70, 90, and in first place, $130,000. That is going to change lives, an incredible amount of money. But to go with that as well, the bragging rights. What does it come with? The Axe of Champions as well. Look at this thing on screen. It is so clean this season. Loving this thing as well. Our champions will don the Axe as well. It is so great. Fellas, what do you think of this thing as well? I'm absolutely loving it. I think it's great.
Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, I'd hold that right now. I mean, start swinging that thing. That looks so nice.
A dream for sure, and these players are fighting for it. But we have those players for you, as I mentioned, 50 duos competing. But listen, there is one sticking out to me. Booga and Mira, our current reigning FNCS champs. But not only that, they're currently on a hot streak. Back to back FNCS championships in a row right now. It's going to be awesome watching them go for that 4P. And as you can see here, they are going to be landing down at Chonkers Speedway. A little bit different this season, SBG, because the vehicles are no longer down there. They can no longer rely on them, but I don't think that's going to impact them at all. We saw them come out hot. Qualifier 1, they got 5th, qualified immediately for these finals.
Wasted no time, and I would expect them to waste no time getting into this tournament. And we do have those air vents, the geysers that they're going to be able to rotate from. I don't think the lack of vehicles is going to hurt them too much, but we got to talk about another team. We have Scented and Cold, another duo that has been looking hot as of recently. We were watching the Cash Cup. Those two were just absolutely dominating on that low ground. Scented was taking over. Cold was fragging out. These two are so clean at the moment and peaking right when it is most important. They were able to get 5th last FNCS after a really strong day 2. High expectations, though, Vivid. We've seen these two be at the top of the leaderboard so many times. Coming into today, expectations have to be high once again.
Top of the leaderboard and on the low ground in the lobby. They love to play down there. They are so good at it, arguably the best in my opinion. And coming off hot, like you mentioned, we were watching that Cash Cup. They won that most recent Cash Cup, bringing their total to this season to 3 Cash Cup wins. I mean, like, come on. Whew. Listen, we got a lot more competitors to talk through as well. One of them sticking out to me, it's got to be Kanata and Agers. Listen, Kanata's got to be the most, he's got the most accolades out of any player playing today. That's because he has the most, or no, not the most, he has made it to every single FNCS finals. But on top of that, the past 7 FNCSs, he's gotten top 10, at least in every single one of them. So expect to see him at the top of the leaderboard today for sure. He is going to be landing over at Greasy Grove, uncontested, presumably, as well. And the most important thing about this POI, it's got to be that whiplash that's hiding out in that garage, right? You can throw a vehicle mod on it, make it functional, and use it for those rotates.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how they're going to try and play today. We were watching them in the Cash Cup. The mid game is so clean. They're not having issues. But it's the end game. Are they going to try and play mid ground? Are they going to go for low? Or are we going to see them up on height looking to take wins? All right, hey, give them all the grounds. They want them all. But no, these two are incredible. And Kanata and IGL, a rising IGL. We've been talking about this. He has been more of a fragger support player in the past, but now doing it all, leading a duo, and he's been doing it so well. Now, we got another duo to talk about. We got Pledge and Teo. These two are coming in from Camp Cuddle. They are a duo that was contested last FNCS, but now appear to have it all by themselves. This could be dangerous for this duo because the fragging ability of Pledge, he's going insane in end games. He loves to pop off for big elims. We saw Malibuka and Mustache in EU. Well, I get reminded of Pledge watching those two because he has some crazy plays. And another IGL that I want to talk about is Teo. Much like Kanata, he has been excelling and thriving as we go up and up and up. These two, watch out for them today.
Yeah, ever rising so slightly since Teo, Chimp, and Tabney first made their appearance. But to learn a little bit more about the players, Adam, what do you got for us?
As always, so much Vivid. But one cool thing we like to do here is catch up with the players, find out exactly, well, a bit more about them at least anyway. This is what happened.
What's up, everyone? Sundown here, and we are in the lobby, and today we have Man City Threats with us. Threats, how you doing today?
Good, how are you?
What was the first tournament you ever won money in, and what was that like?
The first tournament I made money in was, I think, World Cup Week 1, and it felt pretty good because I got 36, so I was feeling pretty good.
Was there a key moment for you when you look back and you're just like, oh yeah, that's really the turning point where I know that I can hang with the best of the best, I'm seeing my name up there all the time. What was that moment?
It was in a Elite X-Prac scrim ladder, and I had 80 kills in 20 games, so I was first in kills by 30, and that's when I realized I was almost there is the best.
Looking forward to this season, how do you feel like your duo kind of stacks up? Are you excited going into the season?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I'm playing with the Rise. I think we can do really good because he's one of the top IGLs in our region. I think we can probably win.
So the question is, do you ever feel like you need to break off of the show? There are ever times where it's no, here's the play we need to be making. You kind of take matters into your own hand.
Yeah, a lot of times I'll be no, follow me, because I just see an opportunity and we just go for it. And it usually works, but sometimes it doesn't.
With the more options that have been added to movement between sprinting, mantling, and sliding, do you feel like you've been able to incorporate that into your game to create some more of those opportunities? Are there some fights where you look at and before I'm not sure if I could have won this, but now I can get a clear-cut advantage?
Yeah, especially with the mantling, because it's just so much you can do. You can just mantle up above the kid, and they just can't hear because there's no audio cue on it. It's easier when you have no mats because you can just get above them or just run away really easily.
What do your friends and family think about this?
My mom was really happy, and my brothers and everything. And once I got announced, all my friends were texting me congrats, and it felt really good.
Where can people check you out? What are your social media tags? Where do you stream? Where can they find you?
Threats FN on all social medias, basically. And that's where you can find me.
Look at that, consistent branding. Awesome, thank you so much, Threats, and thank you, guys.
It's great to hear them in Threats as well, talking about his friends and family. Imagine all the players now, their friends and family, just so excited for them to compete in this competition as well. Right, let's jump into POIs. Obviously, we talk about these a lot here, but tonight we're gonna kind of evolve the conversation somewhat. Talk about rotations as well. Now, predictions obviously we get to later on, but little tip. My team may be dropping in this area, but Command Cavern is one of those areas which is exciting because it seems there's so much you can do here, so many ways you can rotate out of it. Vivid, why is it such an exciting place for a lot of our duos, and what are we going to see happen here tonight?
I mean, first of all, it's simple, Adam. One stat to break it down. Command Cavern has put out the most Victory Royales this FNCS. And listen, I love to go ahead and mention that because we just watched EU, right? Aqua and Vino lane in here, Malibu and Merstaff lane here. Those are the first two teams on the leaderboard over in EU, right? Yep. And listen, they both crossed 200 points in that region. Crazy. So this POI is very, very good. But listen, there's a lot of quarters, as you're seeing here, and obviously the vault as well. There's just so much loot here. You have the IO chest, you have the regular chest, and you also have some fishing spots that you can find as well. There's just so much loot. But that's not all. There's a lot of rotational items as well. You have the siege cannons, the air vents, and then you also have some of the launch pads you can find around the map. Now, I want to quickly talk about the siege cannons because they can get you out a very far distance. So worst case scenario, let's say we make it down to a southeast zone, right? It's pretty much worst case scenario. It's the furthest away.
It's quite far.
You can use those siege cannons to kind of make a rotation. Now I'm going to show you pretty much a general area of where you can make it to if you decide to use those siege cannons. As you can see, you can make it a pretty far distance, right? You can either decide to go towards Tilted Towers or a little bit more south. Now, if you're like me, right, and you get some early storm charges maybe around those other teams that are at Command Cavern, you might want to take a route that has a lot less people. You can go directly to the south. As you can see, there's only Camp Cuddle, Greasy Grove, and there's 2 split jobs. So really only 2 or 4 teams that are going to be south of Command Cavern. You can make this rotate, and there's not going to be a lot of duos here, but then again, storm charge is a factor. Can you survive by making a rotate where there's not a lot of teams? If you feel like you need to make a little bit more of a direct rotate, you can go directly towards Tilted Towers using any of those rotational items that I talked about. But again, This is going to be a lot more dangerous, going to be a lot more duos in your way if you decide to rotate this way.
Yeah.
Oh, that is a great POI, and you highlighted why it is. We're probably going to see that once again here today.
We will.
Oh, Command Cavern, beautiful.
Absolutely amazing. But another one as well, in the vicinity of the giant circle, you see there, Butter Barn as well. This is one we know a lot of our teams may be focusing on, trying to find a way they can get there because it's a great spot as well, an advantage point here as well, SPG. Tell us exactly why.
So we have D-Roller and NPen. They're going to land here, and Butter Barn is a non-name POI. It is a landmark, and it is a nice little spot, as you can see right here. Beautiful to post up and hang out at. But really the key is going to be the NPC Man Cake. He sells launch pads for 100 gold. Now, landing Butter Barn, you can get about 100 gold, maybe buy one of those launch pads. But there's a lot of people landing nearby, so it'll be really interesting to see the teams that land here. NPen and D-Roller, they've been landing here for a long time. They're super experienced. They know how to play this POI, and there's not really anyone landing nearby them. It is an open space, and they are going to be nice and clean off spawn. We've seen them in that top 10 pretty consistently in Cash Cups, in qualifiers. They're a team to watch out for that many people may not be talking about. Now, one thing I do want to talk about is, much like you had, let's talk about the worst case scenario. We're going
we love talking
all the
worst
way
case
up
scenario.
north
This is great.
for this zone, but look where Butter Barn is. That is where we are on the map, and let's say zone goes all the way up north, right? Now, you have to make a really long rotate. Well, how are you going to do that? If you're the team, D-Roller and NPen at Butter Barn, you're going to scoot straight up to Tilted Towers, try and grab priority on one of these mountains. The mountains are going to be key because a lot of teams are going to be trying to grab these positions for Storm Surge and farm everyone on the southern side of the map, making that rotate up. Now, it's not only those positions, we also have teams like Booga and Miro rotating out of Chonkers Speedway. They're going to try and rotate in, possibly buy a pad or two because you can get a lot of gold at Chonkers. We also have a contested POI at Synapse, and if they rotate in, they could either take the Rift, they could left foot, right foot it, and buy another pad as well. D-Roller and NPen, they don't know if they're going to be taking out the NPC so no one else can get it, but if they don't, that means more pads on the map, more rotation. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out because this is a nice little tactical piece between all those teams in that southern area.
Yeah, very good point there. You could decide to kind of take that NPC out and be like, hey, listen, you surrounding teams, you are not buying a pad. We're just going to keep that to ourselves. But listen, let's keep this show rolling. Adam, what do you got for us?
Something very exciting, actually. The Duo Revive Lobby NAE. It's a fun one. Check this out. This is what happened. We caught up with some of our players.
What's up, everyone? Sundown here, and right now we're going to play Duo, Revive, and Lobby. Our players are going to pick from these three iconic NA East players, and they're going to choose who they would duo with, who they would revive, or who they would send back to the lobby. Let's hop into the picks.
Duo. So I'm gonna choose Mero as my duo. He's the best fit for me as I'm an IEL. With my current duo, Vert, he's a handsome man. So for duo, inside and outside of the game, one of the best players right now. He owns low ground. Very handsome, very handsome. Got a duo with Scented.
Choosing the duo with Booga because he's one of the best IGLs on the region.
I think I have to go with Scented because he's one of the most dominant players there is right now, so I think that's the only correct answer.
The handsomest man in the world.
Miro, because he's very, very consistent. He has that aim assist, so you can always count on him.
We're gonna have to revive Miro because Miro is part of the controller community, so we gotta help brother out with the controller.
My friend Booga, can't leave him out.
Miro, just because he's the best fragger on NA East.
I feel like Mero's like the best solo clutcher in the game right now.
Probably revive Scented. If he ever goes down, I'd want to get him right back up.
You know, Trio FNCS, he carried, just kept solo clutching, getting kills on low ground, whatnot. So, revive, Mero. Sent to the lobby, Scented, unfortunately, but that's it. My man Kyle's Gearsdorf, you know, World Cup, Game 1, shockwaved on me, took my first place. I could have been a World Cup champion if it wasn't for this guy, so.
Lobby Scented, because I don't think he's as good as the other two options.
For lobby, we gotta go with Booga.
I would definitely send Booga back to the lobby.
Booga's not really much of an aim assist fan, so we gotta go send Booga to the lobby.
To the lobby you go, Booga.
Love hearing from the players there. Do you know what? During the VT as well, we can see the timer ticking down. We're thinking, we're 4 minutes away from the first game. This is amazing. We love this. I mean, as fans as well, as we talk about the game all the time, we're actually just embracing every single game here too. Let's talk about the teams for a second here before we bring out our casters here. We were talking last night about who we think is going to go all the way, right? And you were leaning on one team here thinking, both of you were actually, and then suddenly you saw that was going to change up because the POI was suddenly going to be contested and you swapped things around. How pivotal in this situation, and we've got the finals here, your drop spot, you know, how integral is that to the way you played with it?
Well, listen. The team that we're talking about here, Scented and Cold. They were landing Fortress. They were meant to be uncontested. Then yesterday comes out a tweet. Quanti's like, listen, that's where we're going to. So now we're going to have a little bit of spice over at the Fortress. Now, how does that kind of change up the dynamic? Well, Scented and Cold are used to being uncontested, right? They have strategies based around being contested. They might not be too good when they're contested. SPG, what are your thoughts?
It's not the biggest POI, and if it was me personally, I wouldn't want to fight over this. So we may see this change after the first game or two. It could also be mind games. Who knows if one of these players is actually going to land here? You never know how this all turns out. So game one, we'll get to see how it starts, but how it finishes is going to be the most important.
Indeed, yeah. Got to respect the mind games. Got to respect the mind games. Right, we need to make our squad complete here. We're missing two people. The casters bringing you guys at home all the energy, all the hype for every game. It's Sundown and Monster Defense! Let's go! Let's go!
Hey, man.
It's good to see you.
We're here. We're back. We're back.
Fellas, waiting in the wings there. I mean, you can feel that we're so excited for this. I mean, Sundown, here we are on stage, FNCS Finals. We're back here. I mean, this is a great place to be. What a time to be alive.
I mean, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. It's been so amazing to be back on set with all of you guys and sitting there watching the EU action. I was just like, is it my turn yet? Can I get up there? Like, I just want to go.
It's exciting. I mean, and we have a lot to look forward to, not only between us, but of course the gameplay that's to come.
Indeed, it is right around the corner as well. We better go with our predictions. Obviously, we like to look at who we think is going to go all the way here. I'll jump straight in. D-Gen and Eomzo qualify week one here. This is a duo that ooze confidence, play with a lot of other players. The experience is there. I mentioned Command Cabin, the airship. They've got height. You can censor where other players are as well. It's going to be interesting. I think they could go all the way here. SBG, though, talk me through your pick. Who do you think is going to be FNCS champion?
So, like we just mentioned, I had to switch last minute, but I still am confident in my pick. We're going Acorn and Edgy. They've been playing very well this entire season, and they're a multitude of layers team. Acorn is playing out of his mind, understanding layering, positioning in endgame. Edgy, as we know, tried IGLing last season, now has all that same ideas in his head, but doesn't have to be in that same position to call the shots. That's why I'm going with those two.
Yeah, very good point there. But I like Boog and Mira, the reigning FNCS champs. I mean, come on, how can you not pick them? The solo clutches, expect to see a lot of them because they are so good when they are left as a solo. It's like, man, like, why even play as a duo sometimes? Like, just go up by your own, you know what I mean? Like, whatever.
Sundown, are you on the same wavelength as Vivid there or someone else you think to go the other way?
Not on the same wavelength, maybe just slightly off, you know, a different frequency because I'm going with the Dignitas teammate on that side. I mean, Jamper and Duke have looked fantastic. We saw them play. We saw high ground dominate, uncontested logjam lumberyard to the fact where nobody wants to go near them. They've been given that space, and I think they're going to pull it out easy.
It's a team that earned it as well. Another team that's earned their drop is my pick, Kanata and Agers. Trustworthy. We talked about that makeshift drop spot, creating the vehicle, which is so important to their success. Looking at EU, though, Scram and company had a bit of a tough time finding Surge, but for Kanata and Agers, I mean, they're marksmen in their own rights. I'm trusting in them to do the drop spot good, and I think they got this today. And let's see it, though. It's 2 days of competition.
He's feeling confident there. Obviously, we always ask you guys at home as well. Let us know who you think is going to be FNCS champions. You guys have been amazing this whole season in the chat. Let us know. It could be one of our picks. It could be somebody completely different. We'd love to hear from you guys. The question is, down the line real quickly, SPG, Bugru Miro, can they do it again? Yes or no?
I mean, I didn't predict them, so no.
Okay.
They can.
Sundown? I mean, absolutely they can. All the teams here are fantastic, but I mean, trying to go for the 4-peat World Cup champion, I mean, Miro, arguably the best player in NA East right now.
And let's be honest, we're giving them 12 games, right? There's more time now. Finals is, of course, where every player shows up, and it's the hardest time to do it, but the consistent teams always pull through.
Yeah, consistency is, of course, key, and it is that time. We've all been waiting for this. Finally, it is here. FNCS Finals NAE Game 1 is about to begin. Let's head over to Sundown, to MDF, and let's kickstart this adventure. Let's do it.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Setting the stage, 50 duos, 12 games, $130,000 for first place. Axe of Champions 2.0 on the line, but you know, all they want, Monster, they want the clout. They want the bragging rights that come with that.
It's not going to be easy, not at all. 2 days of competition in front of us. More prizing on the line than ever as well, so there's a lot to look up for. And most importantly, there have been, you know, little spanners thrown in the works here. You heard Vivid when he said he had to change his pick quite literally because new teams are being contested now. And you talked about Scented and Cold putting in that work, going into arena, queuing in, trying to overcome what will be today's hurdle, a drop spot that they were not looking to have contested this time.
And I mean, there's just so many options there, but like we said, stage is set. 6 games today, and match 1 starts right now.
This is it. We are jumping straight into things. There is no time to waste. We have a lot of Fortnite action in front of us. If you are just tuning in, thank you for being here. The premier NA East region kicks off right here, right now. We talked about the money, we talked about the bragging rights, but now it's time to sit down and put up the numbers here, put in the work. The Fortress, of course, being one of those contested drops, looks like it's clear.
Yeah, north to south on the split for the bus. A little bit of room for people. We'll keep an eye on the top left-hand corner as Slacks takes down Diego almost immediately. Users also getting knocked in the feed. Confirmation comes through for Slacks, and Sinetto getting on the board here in his first ever FNCS finals. We're swinging over to what we thought would be the contest in the forest, and then we'll take a look. And this was actually going to be my pick yesterday because Clarity G played fantastic through over the course of this entire season. But with Diego and Bizzle moving over, a little bit more questionable.
Tough team to fight. Diego, Bizzle, consistent. Bizzle has found a lot of success in finals, lobbies. This is really where we expect him to do well. Today, kicking things off, not so hot. Slacks and Clarity best them here. And you know, Sleepy Sound, enough room for 2. For 3 teams, though, it's going to be questionable either way across the board.
Yeah, there's not necessarily that much room here, and it was something Bizzle actually ended up taking to social media and saying where it's like, hey, I believe I have the veteran experiments. I can sit here and just grind this out for a week and learn the spot better than these guys. But the guys they're going up against are no slouches. Clarity and Slacks. Clarity has made the final of every single Cash Cup, and I'm not just talking duos. He did it in solos as well.
Yeah, we like to hype up teams and players that do well in finals, but hey,
that's a huge
the true sentiment, yes, that is a huge one. Let's put a pause on that. Death takes out Commandment there, and that means Stretch is by himself somewhere in the mix of this Coney Crossroads. But not only that, there's a team right outside starting to look on in. Tabney and Def, sleeper team, if I do say so myself, going against the big dogs here, and already it's looking great for them.
I mean, they looked fantastic during qualifiers, though. You say sleeper, and that's probably just because we have so many big-name duos who have made it through. Basically, everyone is here in the finals trying to bring it back, but these guys have looked fantastic, and not a bad loadout on the side of Death either. That definitely will enable you to fight early on.
What's really cool is, like, Tabney is sort of a part of this new era of Chimp, Tabney, Teo, right? These up-and-coming players. The last year or so has been exceptional for them. And like we mentioned, they are putting up the results. That's what's most important.
And you talk about up-and-coming players, have to give a shout-out over to Middle East, which was the first region to wrap up their FNCS today. There was a player who, coming into the season, had 0 earnings whatsoever, took first place going through. So congrats to the Kings duo taking that, but it just goes to show open ecosystem coming through. Anybody can put the time in, put the effort, and come out and walk away with that absolutely gorgeous new active chair.
That's what makes FNCS so exciting. The new teams, the new names, the new faces. I mean, the European region had 19 brand new finalists stepping in for the first time, getting their chance at competition. Of course, here on NA East, we have our own fair share of folks making their first touching down right inside this kind of high-stakes play environment. In the feed, though, Skittles is going to find one. Skittles and Users. Great team coming in, a Collider team. There's a lot to look forward to with these Collider teams because of how explosive that drop spot can be. Same as for anyone landing just outside of this command cavern, but let's take the conversation to Cold and, of course, Scented here. It does not seem like they got into a fight early on.
Yeah, no, it looks like they're just trying to grab the loot and dip, which is something we've seen a number of times when it comes to Fortress. It's not necessarily the best spot where you want to hang around. Unless that first zone drops on top of your head, you'll often see teams rotate back over the bridge because you can farm such efficient metal.
And what we are noticing, just looking at Sented's loadout there, it was about half worn there. Only one big pot, half ammunition that we'd expect. And, you know, again, the loadout not completely full, so it's definitely a wear and tear sign that they are splitting the drop. Booga and Miro, though, exciting team. one of the best drop spots, hands down, even with the removal of the vehicles. Chonkers, Speedway, and look at this, it's playing so well into their loadout. Obviously, this is Vivid's pick for good reason. He was kind of leaned into this pick, and, you know, judging by the way the zones play out, I think it's truly going to determine their success here today.
Yeah, and we'll swap from one pick on over to another, from Vivids to mine, with Luminosity Gaming, Jumper, Dignitas, Duke, and I mean, Dignitas, it feels like whoever was doing the signing for them went and did their homework, picking up Miro, P-God, like just a fantastic outlook. Also have to give a shout out to 50 Torrents, you know, keeping those guys going.
I was going to say, we know exactly who's doing the recruitment. The man puts in the work, and we love to see it. He definitely has an eye to the scene. And, you know, again, if you are doing your homework, you'll see these teams continue to pop up. But for G2, Smacked and Cobalt now, fight going down here. Great tags. This might be a free pick out the air. One reload. No, that burst rifle only has 20 in the magazine. The one downside to the rifle. But, hey, these kind of things happen, and they're going to at least be happy to get all these tags here.
I mean, Cobalt, I think Cobalt actually got the knock. Smack didn't see it in the top left-hand corner of the feed. It went down, and Cobalt's pushing up. Yeah, they did get the knock. So the question is now whether they decide to chase out here, because they are relatively close to the edge of zone.
Wolfish and Cavs are a windmill landing team. Cobalt and Smack rotating in late. No sign of Kanat and Agers means they're long gone. So this is a fight that even Kanat and Agers are going to have to be wary of. Cobalt and Smack's late rotates. We're already seeing what could be the potential story that will unfold. Also notice a very rare zone to pull hard west. Not even north, but southern. So this is a unique endgame, possibly already to kick things off for game number 1.
And we're already starting to see, keep an eye on the top left-hand corner. We've seen 2 full duos be eliminated and then 2 solos are out running around. But right now, what's going on, these teams are trying to post up, get some storm surge. So while we got a little bit of a break, we're going to kick it on over. SPG, what you got for us?
Hey guys, I know you were wondering where Cold and Scented landed. They decided not to go to the fortress and land at this bridge and the outskirts of the area. They don't want to be contested, but it actually works out fairly well for them, as Cold is able to get some tags on the collider and then look towards the fortress. So look for them to play this position in the upcoming games.
You said some tags. That was a lot more than some. I think he got like 150 damage out there. That was fantastic.
Vivid's turning in his bed right now. He's so mad. Clenched fists, cue the memes, all of that. Cold and Scented getting away with a great Game 1 kickoff already. Thank you for that breakdown there, SPG. Truly phenomenal, and honestly kind of sets the stage for us, seeing the success of teams that put in the work.
And we're already seeing a trend from a lot of these duos where it's get relatively near your landing spot, get as many of the shields around you as you can, and then get moving. We already see Bucky and Camp. They are way away from the Bugle, where they haven't left all season.
That is true. The Bugle, fun drop spot, exciting drop spot. But it comes with its own pain points if you're being contested there. Obviously, we saw what unfolded between Macwood and Donnie. I think today they still have those same issues, but more on the line now than ever, right? No more chances. You just get 12 games here, essentially. Dayton Clicks. Here's a team that easily could have been one of our picks, but the problem is, what day will we get today? What clicks will we get right now? Are they on it? Are they feeling it? Because this is a team that rides the momentum of the mental, right? The energy, everything has to work well for them.
And one of the things we saw over in EU, and particularly with this format, we saw it during the qualifiers and in the round 4, eliminations matter. Straight up. Like, yes, the placement points, 32 for a victory, that was fantastic. Eliminations being +3 means if you're aggressive and you are successful, as we saw over in EU, a couple of record-breaking performances coming through, they will be able to add up. If there's anybody out of this lobby who's not afraid to start flying at people, it's that NRG duo. And honestly, Peterbot and Byla can say the same about them.
Exciting team. Mythical burst in the loadout here. Legendary striker as well. This is a loadout fit for a team looking to pick up a victory royale. Now keep in mind, they are at the Collider. This is the most explosive drop spot that we've seen introduced this season. Launch pads are guaranteed here. Obviously, the mythical upgrades are something that no one's going to want to turn down in this general area. And then, of course, the heals that come out here, the natural rotate straight off of the Collider as a main drop spot point, makes this the place of choice to hang out. But finding Surge here can be a bit difficult as all teams are so based up.
Yeah, and now we will see where that next zone will be revealed as it goes through on the left side of your screen. And we're pulling relatively center. One thing to note, as you see kind of the gray spaces on the map, those denote the mountains coming through. And you already see those blue triangles heading straight to the top of it. They want the vantage point on everybody rotating in, as Byla, unfortunately, not able to sneak through some shots on a very cheeky angle.
Man, you're just bringing attention to the players and where they're positioned. Guys, pay attention to how many players are alive right now. We have something called Storm Surge, and this is always going to turn on in the finals lobby. In about a minute or so, damage will be dealt to players who have not done enough damage to other players in the lobby.
Yeah, and so just fun fact about Storm Surge 1, it's actually on in every single game of Fortnite Battle Royale that you end up playing. However, it will only trigger when you're above 70, 50, and 30 players at zones 3, 5, and 7. That's why we always say, hey, Storm Surge, you just got to keep 3, 5, and 7 in mind. You reverse it from the number of players in the lobby, and you keep it in that order for when it goes off. What is Storm Surge? 25 damage every 5 seconds to the duos who haven't hit enough shots. So when we say hit your shot, kid, we mean it, because if you're not cranking that number up, as we still have 95 players up, only one solo rider out there, you're going to be put under pressure. That's why almost everyone we're tuning into right now is even investing some of their stone, building up high, and looking for sight.
This is why every engagement is so important. This is why we really stress those early game clashes. And this is why we call them wins. Even when you just, again, head bump with the team, you don't need to get the elims. You just need to do the damage. That is what's most important, because it will start to add up. For Agers and Kanata, though, this is my pick. It is not looking good. Big wall comes down, the armored wall to protect them, and Agers has to dig into the quick heals here. Will he be able to play for the pickup here? This is not looking good at all right now, as Teo is on the other side of the wall. Here comes the counter edit. He's got to put some punishment down, or he's going to start running out here. Pledge and Teo are not giving this up.
Yeah, and Pledge and Teo, a duo who is more than happy to fight. And I mean, they're even saying, look, chip away at this armored wall, bring it on down. But Agers trying to create enough space. What they'll likely look to do is wait until he commits for a revive and then find an angle to ensure he's not able to stick it, and that's immediately what comes out.
And they are 280 damage above here, so this is really for the points here, for the setup for the future. Agers still has not managed to fully heal up. He has, however, dropped another chug splash. Down goes Kanata. It is not looking good. Pledge got what he wanted. The loot, the material, the everything else that falls from the drop body there. And notice they expended so much metal. So Pledge, Teo seem to be happy for now to claim some spoils, but is it enough to give Agers a free pass now?
And they should get the points for that. Again, the points end up going over to whoever got the knock. Knock gets the confirmation on the knock. So 3 points going over because Pledge was the one who picked it up. You can see that on the right-hand side. And they are 216 above. So even with that elimination, though, as we see, 24 players, 12 duos are going to be under pressure, and they might be able to snipe the whip.
This is the most important thing. Kanata and Agers actually land at Greasy Grove to get this vehicle. Now, the vehicle comes a little more damage than the others because you do have to build it back together, essentially. But again, it is so important. And look at this. We have Clixon Day now below the Storm Surge here. 173. Make that 188. It's continuing to rack up here. This is a team that will absolutely have to fight.
And what they do when they're under surge, they won't look to rifle. Yes, occasionally they do. They want to get wall-to-wall. They want to get box-to-box. And you can see them eyeing the team right away. The key here is, though, they have had a tough time when pushing in this situation, not taking chip damage from other angles. And you can see that already coming out as Bryce able to get a shot on him. They're immediately going to shield all the way up, and they're going to take this fight.
Small mistake there made from Clix. He didn't realize Bryce actually had that side angle, and let's see if that information was relayed to someone like Day, because Day's pushing straight in, face checking Nos in here. So they are in between these two solos, and there it is. More of those side shots starting to come in here. Day is running out of material. He's running out of gas here as well. Surge will be active. The damage is going to start ringing in. They are running out of time effectively here. The longer this goes on, the less likely it will be that Day and Click survive.
And if you're Bryce and Austin, you've already tagged them during this period where they're trying to push up. Yeah, they can just fight defensively and wait. And we've talked about how in NAE, some of these guys are just fantastic defensive fighters.
Right, here comes the push. Clay. Oh my gosh, Clay jumps in a box. He finds a nice little tag there, but no, the whiff, not a full connection, and the surge comes in, finishes him off. He gets knocked, Day goes down, and just like that, the two get wrapped up from behind. It's Trashy and Glace looking on in to try to get their 2 cents in the mix here, and it does seem like they've also been damaged not only by the storm, but potentially the surge as well. So this is going to start to rack up. Other teams, though, potentially under pressure right now. Looks like Qua is one of them.
Tabsy already down 93 below on the right-hand side. Stretch also going to fall, most likely to surge in that regard. It's something we've seen in a lot, whether it's the semifinals, round fours, and he likes to kind of let the lobby come to them in the first couple of games. That'll pick up the pace as people realize, hey, doesn't matter how many tags we get, there's still 96 plus players up at first surge. As Rokane and Joji get on the board, Agers actually finds D-Roller on the other side of that, so trying to get them back in action.
That's crazy. Agers was solo
with Kanata no longer in the game.
Maybe Surge, maybe under Surge pressure, just throwing some rifle tags over. That would be my guess.
And Agers needed it. He was 67 above when the Surge went active, so it was definitely something that he was going to need. 384 buff for Acorn and Edgy, looking very solid right now. Loadout in full. I like it. In the feed, though, Larson, Quanti, and Bent go down cold, starting to get on fire. Jamper finds Elite X as well. So big Elims coming through.
I mean, that is monstrous for Cold, trying to get it going. We've talked about how good him and Scented have been. Cold is still kind of one of those newcomers on the scene. Yes, he's been around, but doesn't necessarily have the same level of experience. But hello, Acorn walks right up on top of a duo, trying to find it, and Fable Taco luckily able to throw up the walls, but him and Golden might potentially be caught out here if Edgy can get a little bit more aggressive. Trashy gets the knock onto Shoni. Him and Polo had a fantastic showing for a first-time finalist when they're coming through in the semifinals.
We got ourselves a very cluttered rotate down, down to that bottom right-hand side. If you take a look at that map, look at how many teams are desperate to get into the collider here. They want to get a free rotate and position themselves up. Right now, out comes the rest. If anyone is positioned off in the distance, they will start looking for free tags there. You see Threats and Rise being one of the few positioned in a great spot. Adrian still in this game is just solo. How is he holding on?
Doing it Mr. Solo Dolo right now, but Storm Surge has turned off after taking its toll. We see Rokane and Trashy get the confirmation on their side. Rokane and Joji are lighting up the feed a little bit. I mean, Rokane in particular, we talked about him in qualifier number 3 having potentially one of the best individual efforts, honestly, that I've ever seen. And they're one of my bigger favorites coming into the season due to their initial Cash Cup performance. We got to fight.
One team needs to fall, placing points get given out. It does just happen right there. It's going to be TK who gets taken out for Cold and Scented. This is a big fight right now. They have the zone landing right on top of them. The most important zone, zone number 4. If you don't have to move in zone 4, that is so great because now you get to wait for half in, half out.
Yeah, and part of the reason why zone 4 is so important, as you mentioned, the half in, half out, that's zone number 5. It is the first of the zones that is no longer a concentric safe circle. That means that the safe zone is completely within the previous bounds of the other storm. That's kind of the transition point from the early game into the mid game, and then we get the full moving zones in zones 6 through 9. We're gonna hop back on board. Our defending FNCS champs currently sitting on 1 elimination and some pretty prime real estate here.
Definitely a good spot to be in. A little bit further from the big pack on the right as well, so definitely a better spot than some might think. For Avery and Muzz, though, they're also a team that's positioned pretty decently here. Got to
right
see that mountain, right? They do have to get a little bit of that elevation. Other teams are trying to scramble across here. Once again, these are very important engagements, important tags. 2 launch pads in the hands of Avery and Muzz, so it looks like Command Cavern gave them something really great. Might have even gotten that vault to themselves.
And this was a duo who a lot of people were talking about, and it just doesn't feel like they were quite clicking. They're amazing when it comes to individual skills. As we see, Joji picking up yet another pair. Rokane and Joji, they got the bus moving monster right now.
But Miro and Booga are the ones who get all the loot off of AV and Eden right there. So yes, the elims go one way, the points go one way, but the loot goes to Miro and Booga. Very important as we're starting to edge our way to this end game.
And we can already see a little bit of that shift in the pace we talked about, where before we were 24 players up above Surge, and generally after that nobody would fight. We've chipped it down because players are fighting for the real estate. There's only really 2 natural high grounds in here, but right now, Joji and Rokane, they've been active, but they're stuck between Cobalt and Smack, and then they have Booga and Miro on the other side with almost no utility, so they were able to get the 3 eliminations, but at what cost if they don't get the actual refresh from it?
One might say the armored wall's impenetrable, but so are Booga and Miro when they're positioned this well on the edge of the storm here. Rokane, 6 HP, not looking too good right now. Joji trying to lead the rotate here. He's in the front. He has to be the meat shield for the duo right now. The shots are coming in, though. It's coming from multiple angles, but they hold on just long enough to buy themselves some time. In the feed, Adrian gets taken out by Haji here, just outside the top 25. Mega unfortunate for him. That's placement points lost.
Yeah, into the top 25 means we're into the cascading placement points. Storm Surge also never even went off. The pace picked up ridiculously, but look at the bottom right-hand corner. We have 3 duos inside the half in, half out. Everyone else is all the way across the zone.
We're going to have to start figuring out a rotation plan here, and sometime soon, Iamzo, D-Gen being one of the few to go ahead and take that first stab at the new zone. They're built up strong and high. Booga and Miro once again find 2 more in the feed. It's starting to add up here. These elimination points, we cannot stress how important they are. 3 points per elim is effectively worth 3 placement spots in the end game. So when you find 2, that's a 6-point jump.
Yeah, we mentioned being in the cascading placement points. Once you're into the top 25, it's plus 1 point. Each duo that then goes down, since you're in the back half of the game, is an additional point being given. So if you're able to just stay on your feet a little bit longer, you're generally in a good circumstance. What we're going to see right now is everybody sprint to the pads that they hear going down. Because all of these southeastern teams were able to rotate with the collider and the pad that was over there, there should be plenty for people to find as Duke gets a knock on to Igna.
Ignalai is going to go ahead and fall there. Just a knock, though, so he can potentially be safe here. That's his player swatted out the sky. Rokane being left as a solo right now. 13 points earned. Not bad at all for a first game, but can he do big solo efforts here? Clutch up a little bit more. That's what is most important. Take a look at his zone. Half of it is in the water. The other half barely holding on to a piece of land. It's Booga and Miro who are way out on the side there. Talk about a bold choice from them to stay that far from the pack and not be lobby focused. That's a rarity.
But the difference is if you check the bottom right-hand corner, if the zone pulls anywhere on like the western or north part, they basically win. Everyone now has to rotate past our defending FNCS champions as Muzz will end up shutting down Rokane and Joji. So while they got it going early on, the 3 Elims plus about 4 or 5 placement points coming through aren't necessarily going to be the best of starts as Booga and Miro, they're on 3 Elims and they got plenty of room.
The cool part about this, they can basically edge their way out just a little bit, go for that late pad and actually play for a high ground. We don't see it very often, but it is a possibility. Slacks and Clarity, however, do have that high ground currently. They are the eyes in the skies. What is going to be their play? Will they play for the recycling of a launch pad? Will they just wait this one out? Let's find out. They go for their own. Looking to double dip here potentially, but no. Instead, they want to touch down first. He's going to double back. Slacks is trying to get as much information as possible. This is the smartest way to do it. Another launch pad right here. They're going to go for it. Mega's hurt. Chimp is hurt too. And you can see players are going for that shotgun drop down. Spade is going to be one of the few that actually picks up an elimination in the process. Peterbot, Byla still alive. Gold and Aviv still alive there on the front. Clarity G and Slacks are hurt, but they're up and running. And this is an exciting team right here. Cold and Scented are still in the game.
Clarity drops. Demonics on the other side of that. You talked about them being hurt. Well, maybe a little bit too much.
High ground.
Slacks, but Pamstone and Fash, the French Canadians, say that one's for us. They rip away high ground on the rotation. Chimp picks up DJ and Nick ends up getting the confirmation on the Clarity. I mean, the French Canadians have been showing up here on NAE.
They haven't stopped going for high ground since the semifinals when they decided they were going to go high ground game after game, and now we get to see them play this height. I love this play by them. It's bold. It's a statement maker. It's the way you want to kick off your game number 1, and already they're finding the tags here. This is looking like a win set up for us, written in stone, but again, they have to perform here. Teo is down. Pledge has to play for the heals. Dude, he's got so much to work with, though.
Yeah, I mean, he's just popping sushi over here, chilling, no problem, eating the raw fish out in the zone, but we talked about it. Hey, during the semifinals, Fash and Pamcel had a game very much so like this, where they looked like they were aloft. They're on the left-hand side of your screen, the bottom right-hand corner. Miro going to work on the backside of the zone, finds a huge shot, needs to dig in and pick up the splashes, and continue moving towards the zone. He wants to pick up a siphon here, but he doesn't have time, and he gets it just as it ticks over. He still needs to catch up to the zone, and Nawson, Miro, what was that?
Shuts down Vert with a big tag right there. All he needed was one, and that's a blessing in disguise. The siphon keeps him alive here, a fighting chance, and this is what Miro is known for. This is what the duo does best. Trust in one another to pop off and pick up big points. Spade and Chimp, a team that got second last FNCS here, and now looking to continue to pop off. Miro is still alive. He gets another one, though, sundown. He is starting to really cook up here.
I mean, I was talking about just the 6 Elims on the other side there. Miro's got 6 by himself, 40 more builds, and again, Zone is pulling back around him. Another solo. Fantastic individual movement, and he is hounding these solos.
He's cutting them off right there. I love that play. Aviv, be careful. Miro's waiting. So is Muzz there waiting on the side. He sees the fight breaking out. He knows this is his wall. He's got the angle there, but no. Backs off here with every team that falls. More placement points being given out. Pam and Fatch have the high ground for free. Everyone else is battling. Down come the high ground kings to start battling those in the low. Miro, though, is still popping off, and another one. Down goes Aviv. That's going to bring him on up to 9. Another player in the box. He finally gets crushed, and there it is. Byla and Peerbot. Now, 8 Elims in a 2v2.
but down on resources as Pamso and Batch, they've been chilling. Yes, they only have 4 Elam sitting on the half, but they want the Victory Royale to come through. It's not going to matter, though, because at the end of the day, Peterbot and Bila are going to be first place on our leaderboard to the back of the eliminations, but hold the phone, it's not over yet. We talked about the there it is, never mind. Just a little bit of panic, not gonna throw that one away as Pam Stout and Batch, the French Canadians, take game number 1.
Hey, Pam's been there before.
Yes,
he might have thrown a game or two once in the past, but not today, not when it matters most. The win comes through for Pam and Batch there. A huge showing as well. Peterbot and Bila, impressive for them to come on up into the conversation here. We'll take a look at that. It all starts to add up. 6 Elans, not too bad.
I mean, we were talking about it right before. I'm like, man, I feel like we kind of forgot about Peterbot and Bila a little bit, and they're saying, you can't forget about us. We'll put a stamp on it. However, I do have to say, Monster, this is a very typical NAE start. Slow Storm Surge off of the bat. It kind of ends up rolling everyone out, and then High Ground dominates, but the individual effort.
I was going to say, but also let's talk about that second surge. That was super
What
unlikely.
second surge? It was gone.
Yeah, things just really racked up. Things picked up. It was an exciting game 1, and just like that, the games are off, and the pace is going crazy.
Yeah, we're getting
absolutely crazy, absolutely insane. I think that's the thing with Pamstone and Fatch as well, continuing exactly where they left off in semi-finals. High ground, Victory Royale, insane start, Vivid, insane.
Beautiful, beautiful, insane start. So listen, we talked about it. Booga and Miro, the solo clutches. It is inevitable. Miro in the end game, 7 eliminations on his own, 2 on Booga as well. SPG, come on, we were hyping him up.
Dude, that was incredible. We're sitting here like jumping around, going crazy.
like, yeah.
That was incredible. I ate my words. I've never eaten my words so quickly after saying no, they can't do this again. But that was phenomenal and exactly what we expect out of them. And that's, you shouldn't expect that, but expect greatness out of the champs.
Indeed, we saw them singled out as well there on the edge of that lake. You can see they're completely separate from the rest of the pack. Everybody else, this crazy mountain being built, and they're just waiting for the moment to pounce. And Miro, again, the clutch meister extraordinaire, Vivid, just the way he plays is just something else. It's almost kind of extraterrestrial. It's insane.
It was so close. At one point, Sundown mentioned it. Listen, he literally got an Elim right as he was about to go down to Storm. Found it, got bumped up to 50 HP, ended up living and putting on quite a performance. But listen, that's not the only great performance result. Pamstone and Fats, hats off to these boys. You mentioned it at the top there, Adam. They've developed. They actually grew from semifinals. Playing in semifinals helped out Pamstone and Fatch so much. We saw them. Session 2, they played for the high ground. We were joking. We were like, man, they played high ground so well. They should become a high ground team. Session 3 semifinals, they do the same thing again. They go for a height again and again. And we're like, okay, maybe they're a high ground team. Game 1 finals, they're on the high ground.
I never expected that. And they play it so well. They learn from whatever happened in semifinals. They're like, okay, whatever confidence they got deciding not to play that mid to low ground anymore and now go for these wins, this is going to pay massive dividends. This is a whole new team we have to watch out for on the high ground.
Indeed, we saw Sundown last season, Chapter 3, Season 1, continuously saying, Pamstone and Fatch, and look where they are right now. You can see they've definitely developed the way they play the game. Great. It's absolutely incredible stuff. Who knows if they can continue this. It's a great start to proceedings, but again, another team must highlight as well. We talked about Booga and Miro, their ex-teammate and ex-FNCS champion, Muzz, with Avery as well.
Exactly.
Another pick, obviously, in our semi-final. You said the right game, the right time they went through. I mean, right now, Vivid's top of the world here. I'm kind of enjoying this, but also kind of hating at the same time. But they're doing also brilliant things, and where they left off again in semi-finals, Vivid, they're continuing their journey very well.
Absolutely incredible. A lot of people question, like, listen, man, are they going to do well? They're not. Listen, Command Caravan has proved to be a very good POI. This is where they are landing, and right now they do like to land in that south entrance where the Slurp truck used to be, right? And they have it uncontested in these finals right now. It's working out well so far.
It has worked out well, and I've waited to see this team do exactly this. They've kind of been middle of the pack. I want to see them excel, continue this. You talked about early game drop spots, but I highlighted earlier people buying the pads. Oh, man.
Wow.
Oh, look at that. 9 elims.
It's literally stunned on the leaderboard. It is incredible. 9 eliminations, but also Peterbot and Violet there, 8 eliminations. Vivid, I mean, this is incredibly tough. We saw there that we got the dominant performance from Booga and Miro, as well as Pamstone and Fatch, but we see so many teams scoring big points early on.
Oh, man, this is unbelievable. If we have 12 games like this, right, where we're very, very close, we are in for quite a show. But listen, we saw it. We talked about it. Miro with the solo clutch, right? Bugha and Miro. Bugha go down early, and then Miro basically puts up all of these points that they have right now, right? Like 7 eliminations, getting all the way into that top 5, basically by himself. Like, it is incredible what they do as a solo. And then also great to see Peterbot and Byler. They are landing at the collider. That new POI, very good as well, SPG.
Yeah, definitely very well. Bugha and Miro, I almost put their names together. They were able to save so many mats because they had 3 pads. They were able to purchase 2 from Mancake. I actually, kind of expected them to rotate through, but we see it right here. Bugha rotating into Mancake, purchasing multiple pads, and now these guys are going to consistently use this. As they go into the mid game, they're using all the movement, they're saving those materials. I mean, we see right now, Bugha does not have that many mats, and to be able to get that top 5, granted, awesome solo play by Miro, but it was incredible, and it's all the knowledge of the game.
Yeah, this is exactly what you said early game, lads, as well. It was going to happen this way. That is exactly why you pay the big bucks. Well, you guys are Hollywood. You can see here as well the standings again on the board one more time, guys. Obviously, this is only game number 1 now, but it's a thing. Bugha and Miro, reigning champions, starting proceedings incredibly well vivid. I mean, obviously for qualifier 1, these guys went through, but a lot of teams as well have not competed any of the championship up until this point. Again, it seems like they've hit the ground running and they are ready to roll.
Yeah, very, very fast, as you mentioned, running immediately straight out of the gate. A lot of nerves maybe coming in for some of these players, but Bugha and Miro, they've been here time and time again. We mentioned at the top of the show, Bugha has 3 FNCS wins, Miro has 6. They are used to these type of lobbies. As this goes on and on and on, it's going to just shape up to be amazing.
Yeah, they're clearly locked in, and we've seen a lot of teams have been locked in throughout these games. It's only 1 game. North Zone, we'll have to see where they continue to go. Pam and Fatch having a great match. Now, we'll see what comes up next.
Yeah, we saw some teams as well, like Storm Surge, like Clicks and Day, we saw they were a big factor as well. So that's something definitely to watch out for as well. What do our teams do in game 2 here? Is it back to the same thing, Vivid? How do we go into this next one? What's going to unfold?
Listen, these teams have strategies, right? If it doesn't work out game 1, it doesn't necessarily mean the end of the world. Sometimes you do get unlucky in Fortnite. It does happen. So stick to your strategy. It's just game 2 and see how it happens here.
Okay, that's it. You've heard it from the guys here. It's all about to happen in game 2 here. Will our teams like Pamstone and Fadge, Bugha and Miro continue ascending to the top of the leaderboard, or will it change? We'll have to wait and see here. Anything can happen on NA. It's time for finals. Game 2 here on day 1. It's over to Sundown and MDF. Back into the action.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. And I mean, what more could we ask for in game 1, Moz? That's fantastic.
It was definitely exciting. The leaderboard telling us a story already. NA East is heavily leaning into the eliminations. Up at the top, it's a clear breakaway for our top 3 teams. But at the bottom, DJ Niamzo picking up 21 placement points there, already finding consistency out of one of the more difficult drop spots, Command Cavern.
It's something we talked about and we saw over in EU, where I promise you at the top of the very table right there on the leaderboard, yeah, there might be a couple who are playing all placement points. If you're not getting elims and you're not getting the +3 points, there's no shot you pick up that oxygen.
Yeah, and that mid game is going to be very, very interesting. Big teams falling. I mean, I'm so curious what went wrong for Kanata there. He got in that head-to-head clash. Things crumbled so quickly. That foundation has to be strong, and a team that has Greasy Grove to themselves is a strong foundation, so we are expecting great things. But again, it's already starting to unfold here. Game 2 is underway. Let's just go ahead and jump on that battle bus as the stories will begin to write themselves here. There is so much to play for now, Sundown. Again, we are only setting the stage up for these players, but they have to do the rest.
And what a stage it is, as we see here. Just a slightly underneath the middle bus path going from southeast to right around the midpoint on the western side. Tough glide for some of the northern teams. The southern teams should be happy here as we see where everything's going to net out.
Man, what an exciting game that was. Pamsto and Fats playing for high ground, picking up that pace that they left off out of the semifinals gate there. And semifinals was a story in its own. The caliber of those lobbies were no pushovers, but for the most part, all of our premier teams pushed through. In the feed, though, to kick things off, Tabs G having a rough start this time around.
Yeah, knocked almost immediately. Users getting on the other side of the feed here. So we're going to hop on down to the Synapse station, except in Voil. Don't forget there are 3 naturally spawning rifts down here, as well as a close proximity to the Mancake. who will sell you. Nope, not some fantastic flapjacks. Instead, it's going to be the launch pads, which honestly people might enjoy better, as we also see Bizzle going down near instantly, and Diego has no HP. That was hide and seek getting a piece of that, so we can assume that that was likely rifle shots coming over from the side. Not sure how aware Pamso and Thatch are of that, or Clarity and Slacks are of that.
And we saw this unfold the same exact way last time, except the shoe was on the other foot. Diego got dropped near instant before Bizzle gets picked off on the rotate on out. This time around, though, there's going to be a re-pickup here. So Bizzle will be able to get saved. He'll be able to continue his tournament play. On the other side, though, here's a fight we did not get to tune in early with. Rise and Threats in a 1v1 head-to-head clash here. Looks like Blake and Lawrence on the other side of the wall. Blake, who is a high ground type player, you unleash this guy and his duo into endgame. It's going to spell disaster for everyone in the lobby. So this is a very important fight for the general whole of the tournament.
And another slight change in what's going on early on. We got Cold dropping Quanti immediately. And I mean immediately. They're going right down in that, but Threats now getting pushed back a little bit here by Blake, and I think he's probably going to reset with only one build and not necessarily the best weaponry to dive in. Doesn't have a swap weapon, but that early auto shotgun is good, and they might be able to take something here, but instead just going to back off and try and get a couple more builds there, as actually throwing that one of his 2 wooden builds right there might put him in a tough spot.
Yeah, Rise is nowhere near him, so Threats has to be very, very careful with how long he lingers about. There it is, recognizing that it is time to go ahead and back on off. D-Gen is going to find Walkers in the feed, so the high ground of Command Cavern already playing into effect here. Walkers actually lands on the eastern portion. That's the right side of the mountain of Command Cavern, the general outside facility, so it must have been he was rotating out.
And one thing we've talked about, how the pace in the game will probably slightly shift. Now, there are still reboots around all the time, but we are already at, if Skittles gets confirmed here by Peterbot, we are already at the number we saw when third zone closed, and Peterbot looks like he's hunting for this.
This is a collider fight, guys. A team of Skittles and users, a team that is so exceptionally powerful once they get rolling here, going up against Peterbot and Byla, whom already have proven they are off to quite the start. Now find themselves 2 great eliminations there.
As we're going to get a replay of how they went down. And one thing in particular when it comes to Peterbot, everyone knows him as one of the strongest individual solo players and having fantastic aim, as we've seen there. But when it comes to playing in team modes, he has struggled to find a duo who really complements him. And I'll get back to that point in a second here, as Commandment and Stretch, they're under pressure for the 2nd game in a row. Death and Tabney are taking it right to them.
And Death and Tabney are inside the top 10, so they made real good use of their time alive after the Coney Crossroads. Now, keep in mind, though, Stretch did survive the last early game. They didn't make any points out of it, though, so they were forced out of the drop and had to play for a pickup, but they couldn't make do with their time alive in the lobby. That's important, because now they're losing this fight again. So if they get fully eliminated, I mean, it's going to be a major setback here.
And this is a team who likes to play for consistency. They're not necessarily the, hey, we're going to go find a bunch of elimination, as Commandment drops down there, finding a nice little drop shot and going up. But you notice how he invested 5 of his 8 builds to get that 1 shot, now down to 2. He's going to be forced to disengage. He can't take a fight anymore. He's going to go double up with Stretch, but now 1 more build left. He has to create distance or he's gone.
He got caught off guard there by Tabney, just leaving the wall open. And of having those materials, you need them here, even especially in the early game. Commandment is down to 1 shot. Stretch has to put up some counter defense here onto Death. It's enough to buy them some time, but for how long?
Only 3 more builds here onto Death, and he's immediately going to go over and say, nope, I'm going to chop down this tree. Not going to end up in the same situation as my opponents, and they're trying to isolate Commandment. And you can see Stretch desperately trying to work his way around and help him out.
He's going to get outside. Another fight on the edge of the screen here between Edgy and Acorn right now. A team that, of course, did not expect to be contested in this general open area. Tilt the Tower starting to push in. Byla and Peterbot are the team that land at the collider here. Other teams starting to look south now, and it's a fight that is going to continue to clash out. Fable, Taco, and Golden are the team that kind of takes that general area, so there's not enough loot there for 2. Back on over, though. Death and Tabney, they push out, successfully push out Stretch and Commandment.
Generally, they say you can always expect Death and Taxes, but right now you can expect Death and Tabney to be pushing these guys away from Coney Crossroads. They're saying, we're the consistent factor coming through, and As I immediately say that, Death loses the entirety of his extra shield, so need to be careful there. And this is something I like to see out of Clix and Day. They're not waiting. They're trying to get on this hunting effort. And DeQuentin is completely alone. Day doesn't miss these shots. 1, 2, 3. Lines up the headshot coming through. Not going to connect, but Clix gets a fantastic spray, and there's no escape here. What do? You drop down, you take the zip line. No, Day's going to sit on top of that. Try and use the builds, but again, taking chip damage from the side. Armored Wall going to buy him a little bit of time, but how long?
Great use of the armored wall there to buy himself some time, but Day looking for that low ground angle here, trying to find anything to expose this player. It's only a matter of time unless the duo gets here ASAP, but Clix and Day do not capitalize on the moment. His duo has arrived now, and things start to slow down. DeQuentin manages to crank his way out of one of the most just disgusting ambushes right there.
And you see how he immediately invested what I'm assuming is almost all of his hard mats.
Yeah.
There's not a ton to farm over here, and he's going straight up. And again, still taking chip damage from the side. If they can clean up that ability, this would make these fights so much easier for them. But honestly, in a lot of circumstances, they don't care because they're willing to push these guys, win the fight, and then take the extra loot, refreshing themselves. As we actually see our Game 1 winners getting knocked in the top left-hand corner of the feed by our second place FNCS finishers last season.
Been Spade, a team that you cannot let your guard down on, but back into the action here. Day and Clix, have they done enough here to finish this fight? It does seem like the team has fully reset, and this could be risking it all now, and that's the decision they have to weigh. They have to weigh their position here in the tournament. Is this truly worth it right now? They didn't earn any points coming out of Game 1. This is Game 2. They're fresh stab at what could be. As you can see there, Sphinx is in second with total elims at 5, so they have been playing pretty well today.
Yeah, we know who's in first above him. That was Miro with his absurd performance in the last game. But I don't hate this because they know they got tags, and if they're able to rotate around these hoodoos and keep the positional advantage getting more central from this other team, based on where the zone is, it's going to keep likely pulling center with some potential to end up going over the east. Right now, on the very edge of the zone, you can see in Condo Canyon, still this fight going on with threats and rise. And Blake and Lawrence could take advantage of it.
For the biscuit right now, being that far from his teammate, but Blake and Lawrence, they're okay with going ahead and pause down. As you can see, Blake does not have any real material here to stretch this battle out, and this is what you have to assume is that re-engagement, a re-initiation between the two. Take a look at Pam still, though, playing the mountain fronts here inside the bush, just trying to wait this one out, looking for these Daily Bugle teams who do tend to come on out, build these big bases, and try to play for exchanges that are long range. Pam does not have Thatch alive right now, so already losing his best mate in the lobby.
And those Spade who ended up getting the early knock on that side, don't forget they were able to win the first game, but as we talked about going into that first game, they're in third place, and that's because just the raw amount of eliminations that we saw on the other two teams with Peterbot and Byla, and then Booga and Miro going through. So we're gonna swing on over to Pledge, who's posted up just above Golden and Fable Taco. They're looking to replace all of these and get an edit down monster.
Yeah, definitely. You can see they're already starting to craft these walls. It's going to spell trouble for the teams up top, but notice they're also cautious, right? Backing up here, making sure, okay, let's not just let them edit on down. We'll be waiting for that one. And down they come. Okay, so they reinforce this Golden.
Yeah, they heard that.
Recognize what's going on here. A little too much action happening down low. Fable Taco and Golden are looking for the fight right now.
They want to take this fight. They're trying to get an engagement on here. We can anticipate a slightly faster pace than we saw pretty much each game going until game 5 or 6.
Oh!
But not covering the backs is something we've talked about over and over again. Teams are posted up super early looking for those opportunities, and whoever got those tags, they're set on Surge now.
Over to the command cavern. Elite's in bank here in a big clash, but a huge shot from Elite there. He shuts down Scare Bear from Team Matrix, and just like that, that duo is down and out. That's going to be one, but there's a fresh 2-pack sitting right around this general area. The wide shot will give us the big look, but for Booga and Miro.
Nah, we saw that team just right at the immediate instant. They ended up getting Elam. The other team, Peace, they're like, hey, we got some room. We don't want to get bogged down in the fight. Oh, yeah, they were out. And as you see, like we said, Miro in first with 7 eliminations. We saw it in the last game. Reigning FNCS champ, I would say 100% the best controller player in the world. I would also argue that Dignitas Miro right now is straight up the best competitive player in the world when it comes to playing in these tight lobbies and in these tough circumstances. And Pamstar right now is just looking for a lifeline.
Yeah, he's found something here to work with, some minis to go ahead and get him some shielding back up, and then of course he wants to keep that harpoon though because he's going to play deep into the zone. This will give him an opportunity to play for the save here onto that. Little med kit, little campfire as well, so a lot, right? A lot going in his favor. He has time.
So right now, if I'm Pamso and I know I'm hanging out here and I know there's a med kit there, I would have waited the extra 10 seconds to pop this. He just ended up losing like 5 or 6 seconds in the zone as we actually see Spade going down there.
Big elims right here. Jamper and Duke are that team just inside the safety of the zone. Pamsto's the one player to the south, and there it is. They ambush onto the solo there, and they actually pick it up. That's a knock. Why is he so far from his teammate is the real question. But looks like Chip now off to the side. He's just hiding out, trying to keep a low profile for Jamper and Duke. They inch their way to that top 10 after that elimination, and they're so comfortable above the surge right now, so they're A-okay to play for positioning here.
Yeah, and this is a team who prioritizes positioning so much. They're looking for high ground nearly every single game, and they want to control it. It's what made them so strong during the qualifiers. But right now, 1v1. Chimp versus Pamsto on the opposite side of it. Chimp definitely has the HP advantage, but in the top left-hand corner, hey, Clicks and Day are getting up on their horse as well, and Chimp finds a huge shot on the back of Pamsto. Will get the wall replaced on the backside, and he's immediately going to change the angle. He is hounding him.
Yeah, definitely on the push right now. Pam just inching his way out that zone. Shots start to come in, though, from the Daily Bugle, and Pam still gets hit once again. There's no breaks here, no rest on this side of the wall. Huge counter shot for Chip. He has to fight this one out. He knows the surge will be active here shortly. 70 damage below.
Great
and there
shot.
it is. Great
Wow.
tags. Keep Chip and Spade in the game. Fourth takes out third.
But also noting, because Pamso was only a solo and so low on HP and shield test, see what I did there? Chimp is still below Storm Surge.
Definitely below here. 53, make that 68, and no, that means the rest of the lobby is starting to find their tags. They're getting a bit active. It's not looking too hot here. He has a lot of heals, but does he have time to actually pop them is the true question. Clarity and Slacks being one of the few on the side, and Yamzo being others in the mix.
Might have been one of the circumstances where you want to use the natural slope of the bugle to just slide back a little bit. Because, I mean, he's got 4 seconds till 25 damage. Every 5 seconds is coming through as we're going to swing on over. Aegis and Kanata, they're going to be underneath that threat right now. We talked about how Storm Surge, hey, we got 10 less players in the lobby than last time, so it's a little faster, but still, so many players. 7 duos going to be under threat, with Aegis and Kanata being one of them.
This is the biggest issue that we saw from Scram and Hellfire in EU. It was Storm Surge, and now we're seeing it here. Problems unfolding for Kanata and Aegis. We did not expect this to happen at all. They are 130 below, having to use all of these additional heals right now. Kanata, what do you do? All those teams are so far from you. They have to launch pad in Sundown. They have decided we need to get in there. They answer the question. They need to get box to box here. I mean, that's where Kanata will perform best. But, oh my, big shots come in. They get a knock there. That is exactly what was needed.
No, Suscript is still up on his feet. I think, yeah, he's got like 3 HP on the opposite side of it. So not quite enough to get the knock, but it gets them above just barely as we see the feed lighting up. Acorn picking up one, Cobalt picking up, and another return fire on the opposite side. To me, this says that Haji and Suscript, they're not safe either.
Yeah, definitely. All these teams starting to step in to take these fights. Joji and Rokaine being one of the ones that get punished here as well. They want a piece of the cake. Can they get a big enough slice to fulfill them here in this game is the real question. But 81 above now. Things are going to go ahead and slow down for a second, but they know they're not safe. They're not safe right now. They're not necessarily safe for later in the game, right? There's so much more riding on the line than just this, but they're going to go ahead and take this as a small win and back on out.
Definitely a less severe surge here, but we talked about Sphinx being second in eliminations coming into this game. He just ended up getting a huge one on the opposite side. As we see Melito and Death also getting up on the board with Eden and Ab both falling. We will need just one more duo to go down. Storm Surge turns off. First round of placement points given out. So if you're still up on your feet when 35 are there, hey, congratulations, you made it through the early game. Here's a point.
Bucky and Cam putting some shots down onto Kanata and Aegis there, who play for dead center and what seems to be an airdrop there. Commandment is stretched out once again. Shut down, this time to the hands of Muzz, who comes out of Command Cavern. Muzz and Avery, of course, the team that punched their way out of the semi-stages. Bucky now under pressure here. Fighting back with no help, though.
Well, I do not have anywhere near the amount of fortitude to open up a window where I've just been beamed with 15 HP. And Bucky does it like he's nothing. He's like, oh, you're running? I know you're not shooting at me. But looking over our current leaders, we see Peterbot all by his lonesome, and I have no idea where Violet is. I don't see him on the map. It looks like, oh, he's just inside that structure refarming. Okay, so slightly safe right now, but that still gives me a little bit of nervousness as you see Peterbot making sure, like, hey, I'm gonna tunnel back over to you and then refarm all.
Yeah, both sides really risking it there, stepping out for, again, what is a play to get material and a little extra loot. So the greed's gonna pay off here for Peterbot as he buys himself a little more time. Definitely some more material to go ahead and bounce up, but Muzz, we saw him fighting, we saw him take out Commandment and Stretch there, and already you're seeing the wear and tear of sitting in that storm for so long.
That's so good by Muzz, recognizing the fact that he had just enough grid space to where he could sit right on the edge. Teammate crawls through because he's able to break the metal, and he picks him up, making sure he doesn't take any additional of that 5 ticks, because I don't think they have any splashes to delay the pickup. This is Cobalt and Smacked underneath them, trying to push through. They are able to get the edit down, and that, unfortunately, is going to offset the amazing heads-up play Muzz just did, and now the OCE transplant is all by his lonesome.
Now Smacked and Cobalt pick up the loot, the material, and everything in between. They also recognize Muzz will be a solo there on the side. And just like that, Muzz has to play this one out by himself. Still holding on to that top 5, though. Placement points have already been given out to the lobby. You can see NPen and D-Roller picking up their first one now this time around. So this game setting them up in the right direction here. Take a look at the zone sundown. It's going north now. A lot of teams still got to get a move on.
Yeah, very interesting zone, as we do have a ton of potential water in play when we get into the moving zones, because those islands can end up pulling it over, but right now we're mainly over a landmass. One thing to talk about, though, as we're keeping an eye on which duos are still on their feet, which ones are going through. First and second are up. Third and fourth down immediately. 8th place also down, so there's some room. If you didn't necessarily have the best first game, you can get yourself up onto that first page with just a decent performance here, as we see some shots coming in from the one island over in play here. But Bugha and Miro are trying to head for right in the middle. You don't necessarily want to be crowded around the outside and 4th zone unless you're overly stacked on builds, because players are just going to be filtering in over and over. As right now, we got, again, somebody hanging out in the zone. It's Accept with his very own supply of floppers, plenty of chug splashes. Unfortunately, he'll have to leave Boyle behind.
Yeah, definitely will have to leave him behind there, but he's got a lot of time to work with here on the backside of zone. I was just going to say, a little lady luck from Miro and Bugha there, who didn't get tagged a single time on that full rotate. So many shots coming in. Sometimes that is all you need to go ahead and get comfortable. On the side, though, edging Acorn, poising up for a high ground play. Accept here, though, in the ultimate low, just struggling to hold on and maintain here. The next position that Accept wants to get to here for him and his team is top 25.
We will have 5th zone reveal, half in, half out, occurring right now. And like I said, plenty of water in play. We're going over to the one island. So everybody, get your water wings on, or get your actual wings on, and take to the sky, as yet again, Storm Surge is causing problems for the Energy duo, despite picking up the pair early on. We see Day go down to it, and clicks. One more tick will end up going through. He has just enough time to end up full confirming. Nope. Didn't take the shield immediately. It takes 5 seconds to take it, so if you don't pop it before that first one comes through, unfortunately, sayonara, that's going to be it. We'll see you in the next game, as Rokane and Threats also end up going down here. Storm Surge will turn off with the confirmation on the Threats.
What's exciting, though, I saw Byla and Peterbot still alive there, looking very, very strong. Although they are not in the safety of the new zone just yet. They are part of this Western pack that has to get a move on to the other side of the zone. Out comes the Launchpad. Adrius and Kanata somehow maintaining and holding on to this game, but they have been wrecked by Storm Surge. It's pretty clear. Oh, the shots come in from down low. The edits were quick from Blake and Lawrence, but it was not enough. Kanata and Adrius have quite the fight to bounce back from. This is a huge opportunity. They already have 2. They find a little more. And talk about a team that needed that so bad. But can they claim the loot? No. Nastin and Bryce sniped that all up.
That was such a heads-up play from Kanata to end up making sure he owned that, then edited out. There was absolutely nothing Bucky and Kim can do. But you can see real estate. Hey, beachfront real estate is real expensive right now. Everyone trying to pile in. And if you're late rotating, I'm actually pretty impressed. Jackson and Mason made a nice little slide around that backside.
The best real estate is going to go to Peterbot and Bila, though. Low ground, front side, best view, and elims to add to the entire mix here. The pot is looking real good. Miro, though, gets picked up by Smack. We've seen seen Miro clutch up time and time again. What will Booga be able to do now that he's potentially lost his teammate here? But Peterbot and Byla are still on the hunt right now. They're definitely looking all around. Booga playing for the safety pickup right now, but Edgy and Acorn are cracking open those builds. And yes, he does get the save. It's all due to those armored walls. So important to have those in endgame.
Yeah, being able to just slam those down and say, hey, you got 2K worth of damage you can pump in real quick. And honestly, at this case, with how high Storm Surge has been, the answer is more often than not no. And another big thing when it comes to the loadouts is if you're carrying that scope burst rifle, you can't break one of the armored walls. You literally don't have enough bullets. It takes way too much time as they're going to end up rotating in and getting prime real estate here.
It's going right back over the land. It's going to be a welcome sight for some on the distance, though. Booga finds one, finds two, add them up. That's a 6-point swing for a team that's already in the lead, and it's really starting to add up now. These are the placement points and the elims that they desperately needed to hold and maintain that #1 spot. Well, who will claim height? It's a little bit of a toss-up right now. Kanat and Angers, one of our few teams who will definitely play for height. 6 elims now, Sundown, and they've managed to find some refreshers. How in the world have they clawed their way back so hard into this game here? It was looking impossible for a second there, but there's a new team on height. It's hide and seek, and Nets there. Cold and Scented, however, are fighting their way into this top 10.
Clarity ended up picking up Byla and Peterbot as well. Cold ends up getting Miro, which means Booga is solo again, but we've seen what the World Cup champ can do.
This is a huge elimination right here. Huge change of pace for Peterbot as well, who's playing solo. Booga goes for the hit storm heal. What? Oh no, and it wasn't enough.
That was never going to end up going through. Luckily, some fish going off for Miro there. When you're in the 10-tick zone, sticking a revive is almost impossible. The Sphinx also almost going to go down. We do have Storm Surge turning on. Nope, just turns off. Duke's still up on his feet. Scented still up on his feet. Yamzo running on the back of the zone, jumping, hopping, trying to find a little bit of space to get back to his duo as we're going to swing on over to our current leaders.
How in the world does Booga manage to survive that one? All those flashes came into big use here, and he is still up. He's pumping his way through 70 effective HP to work with here. Only wood. Looking for a refresher. Glace is down to the side there. Cold is going to fall. Oh my gosh, Scented is down as well. Edgy falls inside the storm too, so big names already folding. It's going to start opening up the standings here. Degen and Iamzo, though, playing for high ground. Looking good right now. They actually managed to retake it here. Just a couple builds in the works, though. Ager finally goes down after what was a play worth house money there, but Peterbot is still in the game.
We talk about the individual efforts. Booga goes down, but inside the top 10, Peterbot says, yoink, give me that first place, as he's going to about face. And this is what I talked about. The individual efforts from this player is gross. We talk about individual efforts. Clarity G slapping down players. He gets Duke, he gets Booga, he gets Degen as well, putting the G in Clarity G as Nick ends up picking up his partner.
It's a high ground fight, though. Yamza has to give it up. He doesn't have mats. Clarity and Slacks go on up to the top here. Very little to work with, but high ground is just that important. Into the top 10 we are. Yamzo finds one. Down goes Acorn. Bye-bye, buddy. It's a two-man fiesta in front of them, and they get cracked there. But Peterbot is still fighting in the game. He finds two more, and just like that, it's a full team wipe. There's no way you do this one as well, Peterbot. We know you're great, but how great are you when it comes down to the final moments? On the front side, Donnie and Macwood, all of the Daily Bugle are alive here, jumping their way back in. Peterbot has more in the tank. Down goes Lawrence. He has shut down at least 3 duos in this endgame by himself.
And just doing it with the strong weaponry, and right now the other duos are fighting off. He might just push himself individually into a top 2. Peterbot forced into the zone now. 2v1. Slacks and Clarity looking to put their stamp on it here as Donnie is just buying as much time. He's got the points he needs, but you are just sprinting uphill. And no, actually, he's going to take it away. One more shot will do it, but the young lad is going for it, unfortunately. Slacks and Clarity will take that one away from him. A good effort, but man, Clarity and Slacks look good there, and they were knocking out all the people they needed to knock out if they want to push themselves up the leaderboard.
And a hero's effort from Donnie and Macwood out of that draw spot to stay alive here. Bounce back in game number 2, but Clarity G and Slacks managed to do enough there. A 7-elimination victory royale will punch them out of game 2, pick up their first win here in the finals, and that's a great way to kick things off. But let's talk about Peterbot for a second. What a game the young lad managed to pull off.
I mean, it's nuts, and it continues to be the story of NA East where, hey, you got height, you ride it out in the end game, you look pretty good, but the individual efforts and all the points are going over to those solos.
Yeah, definitely. Those were big plays, even huge plays for the standings. We're going to send on over to the boys, though. Crunch the numbers for us, guys.
Peterbot, you absolute monster. That was something else. We saw Miro's performance in game 1, but Peterbot raises the ante. We'll get to Peterbot. That was something else. Clarity and Slacks, though, great win. I mean, we've highlighted them in previous competition, parts of the competition now, and we see them get the victory royale. I think 7 eliminations there as well. SBG, fantastic from these guys, getting that high ground and making sure they get their victory royale.
They used every little piece they had to take that high ground. We even see them have to jump down, take a little bit of fall damage to then hold the high ground, and just enough. I mean, recognizing the right moment, having the awareness to see what's going on around you, that is exactly why this team was able to win this game, and that's why they're here. They're that good. They understand how this lobby works. They see a free height, they take it, use everything they have, and then just grab that victory royale.
Yeah, Clarity and Slacks right there, as you can see, making a play on the Duke. They find the elimination on the back foot of that refresh. They immediately contest Yamzo and Degen on the high ground, who unfortunately at the time had almost to none mats remaining, so it was a pretty easy take for Slacks and Clarity. At that point, they ride it out, but amazing to see. Listen, Donnie and Macwood, second place that game as well from the low ground nonetheless.
I know, so we associate Macwood and Donnie so much with the high ground. They get second position. Great for them points-wise. We'll see the leaderboard shortly. We must talk about the beast that is Peterbot.
Oh my.
I mean,
so
this was
what
just...
is happening?
What is happening right now? I mean, you obviously know in finals, when one of your teammates goes down, you have to clutch up and get as far as you can standing points-wise. And not only that, but Peterbot manages to get 6 eliminations as well. I mean, SBG, fantastic from Peterbot. We're used to seeing him do well, but this is just, you want to see this kind of performance in finals.
Oh, every single game. I mean, NA East is 2 games in, and thank you. Just thank you to the players for what we've seen just 2 games. That is absolutely absurd. And doing it with the drum shotgun, not typically held by a player trying to make big solo plays, but he's able to sustain his HP with all these eliminations. And man, you gotta love this, Vivid.
Oh, it's so good on the back foot, landing at that southeast side of the collider, right? Picking up Dr. Sloan very, very early on, grabbing that mythic AR, really setting him up for that Sloan surge, and then also getting those 2 early eliminations. But here you go, on the back foot of a great performance, Peterbot and Bila find themselves first place with 102 points.
After 2 games, no less, SPG, 102 points, 16 eliminations after 2 games. You can see here as well, folks, you've got the standings, as well as you have next to that the arrows, the up and down, seeing where they've moved up and down the leaderboard here. Jamper and Duke, they're going 8 places as well. I mean, SPG, we're seeing now, we have got ourselves some big numbers, those top 3 teams with double-digit eliminations.
Yeah, that's huge, and that's where all the points, I shouldn't say all, a lot of these points that are separating them from everyone else, it's all those eliminations. I mean, look at 4th place. I don't know how Degen and Yamzo are up there in 4th place with only 4 elims, but that shows the consistency, that shows the placement and their play style. Shout out to Jamper and Duke, another team that was able to sustain within that end game and going all the way up the leaderboard after that victory royale. Slacks and Clarity G now sitting pretty in 2nd place.
Yeah, listen, you mentioned it, like how are Degen and Yamzo up there, right, in 4th place? Well, look at it. They have 55 points, but then Peterbot and Bila are almost 50 points ahead of them in 1st place, right? That gap is so huge there. And listen, Peterbot and Bila were just set up so perfect for the game. We saw in the other game, and we talked about it at the top of the show, Quanti and Larson were actually meant to be contesting Skittles and Users at the Collider. But now that Quanti and Larson are gone, Skittles and Users have that side uncontested, but I think they got a little too comfortable, right? As you can see here, Peterbot picking up the early mythic AR, and then quickly after SPG, he's going to be utilizing it to pick up some eliminations, but also being well aware of how his POI works, using the scanner, picking up some early information to help him actually pick up this early elimination.
Yeah, and those 2 elims right off the start, 1 set a precedent. They're like, this is our collider, and then 2, it's huge for Storm Surge, your confidence, and we can clearly see it just continued to funnel through the rest of the game, and they were rolling downhill after that.
They certainly were. We saw a lot of our teams actually from game 1 who did superbly well lose one of their teammates who go down very early in the last game. We saw Spade and Chimp. We lost, I think it was Spade very early on. You look like the Pamstone Thatch went down early too. I mean, it's really starting to shake things up, I think, and starting to make this look like a very exciting competition. I mean, game 3, obviously, things are flip-flopping a lot here. Vivid, I'm looking at the leaderboard now, and I'm seeing as well here that when we start to get to a position where it's, we get to a position where we see our big teams knowing that everything pressure-wise is on here. We mentioned consistency early on, is if you do go down early on, you need to get your teammate over the line and into zone as well. Game 3, I mean, there's a lot on here. I mean, we saw Miro and Booga there as well go down pretty early, considering they had a great game one.
Miro went down early, but again, the solo clutches, Booga actually got into that top 10. But SPG, something that I want to talk about, you talked about in that mid-game segment, Sentin and Cold actually picked up some early eliminations on the Quanti and Larson in game 2 there, so a little bit of switch-up happening there.
Yeah, and with all of the IO guards you have to fight them. They don't just disappear, and when you get distracted, it can be easily shot at by other players. That likely was what was going to happen, and now, hey, the Fortress ain't looking so pretty anymore.
Yeah, it's certainly not. It's certainly not indeed. We have ourselves a game 3, which is very, very imminent indeed. I think we are going to be heading over and seeing a lot of action very, very quickly here. The battle bus is ready to rock and roll. Sundown MDF bringing us all of this. It's the halfway point after game 3. Let's dive on in and see what happens next.
Are you not entertained? What more could you ask for out of the first 2 matches here in NA East? The top team showing up, individual efforts monster. This is a blast.
It was everything we were just talking about. Man, time is flying. How in the world are we already approaching game number 3 here? The standings starting to take shape here. Teams that are feeling good here on day 1 have still a day 2 in front of them, and of course these games to play out, but the contested drops for Byla and Peterbot. How long can they maintain the Collider? One of the most prominent drop spots on the map. We know how much loot is there, but more importantly, they're facing against some decent teams. So far, it's been great, but can they keep it up?
Yeah, and every single one of these duos here is plenty capable of winning one of those early fights, and all it takes is them going down once early. But the thing that we've seen in almost every FNCS finals is there's always a team, a duo, a player who puts it all together. And right now, if I had to guess, I'm saying it's either Peterbot or flip a coin between Booga and Miro, because they got so much swag.
They played well. They really did play well.
Well's an understatement.
And also, just shout out to Kanata and Agers maintaining composure. They were down and out, no bills approaching that end game, and then they managed to pull something exceptional. Game 3 is here, though. There's no time to waste. Let's jump on the battle bus. Let's see how fortune will favor the players this time around. We saw what game 2 was. It was a left to right battle bus split. This time here, it does seem like it's going the opposite way. A little different flavor here, kind of taking shape right now.
But we're also very far south again, so it's going to make that run for the north, the glide for the north teams very tough. And for Bizzle and Diego in particular, trying to land at Sleepy Sound, I want to know, can they get their feet on the ground? Because every other time, they've been rifled pretty hard heading in.
Yeah, definitely. For Agers and Kanata, though, 35-point or placement jump up for them, really putting themselves right back into the tournament. A 36 hop up for Lawrence and Blake there. We knew this is a team that was, again, getting this big contested drop spot from Condo Canyon. A way for them to make an endgame out of that. That was impressive across the board, as Rise will find Blake this time around. He doesn't even touch down safely, or Kretz gets shaded there too. Is that from the hands of Miro off in the distance? What just happened?
Yeah, I think they were able to put the shots down over there, trying to close the gap here, but Lawrence going hip to hip here, trying to utilize that Ranger and just get in there. But, I mean, honestly, if you asked me to hip fire this weapon, I wouldn't hit a shot. Lawrence on the opposite side of it, though, is trying to put in the work, trying to get some of that regular HP down. He knows roughly where Rise is, and if he can prevent Rise from getting the pickup onto
it is Miro,
he should be good. But like you were talking about, the harassment coming in from the side,
and that's why the zone plays such an important, kind of into shaping the story, right? Because the way the battle bus played out, it allowed Miro to touch down first and then get those eliminations early, which allows Lawrence to actually ultimately clutch up his drop spot here at the Condo Canyon.
But they're actually going to get 6 points from that, because Blake was the one who got the final knock. So now there's potential that they should.
Hello. What? Bye-bye, Scented. Quanti's back. He's here to play, using the Manta mechanics to hop on over and just give him a face full of lead.
I mean, you know me, I love talking. I'm rarely ever speechless, but that just, I had to stop for a second. The mantle into the immediate shot, dropping him down there and then making sure he's meeting up with Larson. That's what they're gonna need to get this ball rolling. Don't forget, we got 12 games. There's still a long finals going through here. So now we're gonna swing on over to Sleepy Sound.
This is not a safe drop by any means. Hamsu and Thatch are the team off in the distance, well within the top 10, playing very, very well here so far to kick things off. But Slacks and Clarity G, second place now, contested drop spot. We saw what happened in game 1. Game 2, they actually allowed Bizzo and Diego to jump back in and play their game out. It worked out pretty okay for them, right? They earned some points, but this time here, Slacks and Clarity G, if they can get 6, they jump on up to second.
And you can see Slacks checking the audio cues there. He knows he's aware of it. He's communicating that to Clarity G right away, who's trying to come around and find an angle. You can see it on the map. It's that little tan circle there in the house, and Slacks knows he doesn't want to overcommit because if Bizzle and Diego push out, that's something when it comes to dropping at a new spot, finding the angles and knowing how to actually properly take this 2v1 is really tough.
That's actually a huge find, though. Just an SMG right here really optimizes his his early game battle, right? He's just going to go ahead and put the AR down for now. That's not great for mid-game or end-game, but hey, for early game, that SMG is going to be super huge. So a little more confidence coming into Clarity G and Slacks now as Clarity finally slides it up. Also notice he has the brick reservoir right here, so that's going to allow them to cap out really quickly. So already they have a very healthy amount of material. It is not looking too hot for Bizzle. Down low and Diego on the outskirts. Pamsto and Thatcher looking on in. Here comes the fight, though. Things are going to start breaking out. Bizzle back against the wall here. No shield find for him. Already starting to lose control of the walls, too, so got to be careful here.
Trying not to get backed into a corner because that's exactly what Clarity wants you. And if he's able to dictate the pace of the fight, it's really difficult. But look how much Bizzle and Diego are investing in terms of putting the brick up in the walls. They want as many cones, they want as many layers between them and Clarity and Slacks as possible because, like I said, Clarity this season, he's been good, man.
And you can just tell he's playing smart. He's slow, steady, methodical with the way he's taking these walls here. Even going as far as trying to bait Diego out from the side box there. He jumped in and said, hey, yeah, let's see if you're going to make that edit. He's not allowing himself to get punished here. Very smart, very high-level play, guys, from our professional players right now. Sleepy Sounds fight is drawing a lot of attention, though. Those Southern teams now starting to edge their way on up, just looking on in, trying to see what's going on the other side.
And one of the things that's been beneficial for almost all the duos is we haven't had too ridiculous of first pulls on the zones. Everything has been relatively centered. You're not going to get pulled all the way to the one side of the map, so kind of lets these fights play out a little bit. But as we see some of the shots coming in from a distance, and we're going to swing on over the cavern when we saw that Avery's already been taken down, but Muzz is still off on his feet, so he's one of the 3 solo riders who's still around. It was Walkers who picked up the Elam on him.
Walkers and Scare Bear, man, managed to jump in that last game, go ahead and put some points on the board for them. Again, a team that has just been making their appearances, continue to pop up and show up. Command Cavern is no easy drop. You have players like Elite here, Bank, Muzz, Avery, the high ground of Degen and Niamzo, right? Looking down and always tempting you to go out and peek so they can just burn you from the skies above. So there's a lot going on here. What might I say? A bit of sensory overload can kick in here with how many teams are in this general area. I forgot to include Nico and Polarize, right? So you can see there's a little too many hands in the kitchen pot.
Yeah, I mean, you don't necessarily want to end up in that situation, but as we've seen, Command Cavern, it's been pretty strong here. As a nice little quick stat in the top right, Peterbot already has more elims by himself, 10, than all but 2 other teams have in total. My question would be, who do you think those 2 teams are, Monster? I know Booga and Miro is one of them.
I mean, all of our teams up at the top, Chip and Spade might be up there as well. They're definitely the ones leading with elims. They've been popping off. They have those solo pop-offs. None like Peterbot, though. Peterbot definitely put up some incredible numbers. But look, he didn't actually overrun the Collider this time. They actually played a little bit safer. So, you know, we do tend to see when teams that are in the lead change up their playstyle, it backfires. So I'm a little bit worried for them not being as aggressive as they started off.
Yeah, let's see if that ends up playing into the first surge, because when we talk about pacing of the match and with this slightly more centered zone, we've slowed down a little bit. Only 1 full duo has ended up being eliminated. We do still have 2 solo riders out there with 1 of the reboots coming through, so there's a little bit of space. Actually, there's the second reboot coming through, so only a single solo rider out there. I was about to say, the other one, Slacks and Clarity G, because we've been seeing Clarity G just push the pedal to the metal, but I mean, Slacks keeping pace with them too. He's fragging out.
Great point there. Clicks and Day, though, try to do that ambush play. They try to slide into that fight there over in the desert. Does not work out. They're forced back out. What's important, though, is they get their hands dirty. They get some tags. They put their numbers on the board here, put the score up. And now they make their way on over to try to get some launch pads here. Let's see if they have enough gold to go out and make these exchanges. Back on over to the Command Cavern, though. The battle basically continues to rage on here for Muzz and Avery. Now being down, Muzz has to play this one out with a hero's effort on his own. We know there's a couple of options when it comes to playing for the pickup here, but this many teams being at the Command Cavern, it's not looking too hot as the zone is somewhat favorite this general area here.
And if you are just tuning in, welcome. We are closing in on the halfway point here of day 1, so the quarterway point overall of the NA East. Chapter 3 Season 2 FNCS Finals. Whether you're watching on Twitch, YouTube, watch.fortnite.com, Twitter, or in-game in Legends Landing. Hey, if you're in-game, hit us with your favorite emote right now. If you're in chat, hit us with who you're rooting for and let us know. But thanks for joining us. This is a fantastic day to watch some amazing Fortnite.
Yeah, or if you're in the Toronto area and you're planning on checking us out tomorrow in theaters, don't forget them as well. We'll be seeing you on the big screen. Such cool things happening in the Fortnite universe all the time. But let's see it here. Acorn and Edgy positioning up. DJ Niamzo up in 4th place right now. Once again, this high ground hold of the Command Cavern. We've seen so many successful playthroughs of any of the teams that decide to claim the peak-most area of the Command Cavern. It just feels like a different game for them, and already, again, they're breaking away with not only a great loadout, but great Storm Surge tag for the most part. That is one of the benefits of having the peak of Command Cavern.
Yeah, and we will get that second zone reveal, and we're going relatively south. You can see we only have 6 or 7 duos in there. A couple more who aren't too far away, but everyone who's on the northern side is going to get going, and Polo actually getting on the board. Polo and Shoni, one of the few first-timers here in the finals, and they had a really, I don't want to say explosive because it was kind of a build-up there where they had a couple tough qualifier rounds, but then once they got into semifinals, these guys were able to go up against some of the best duos in NA East and really take the fight to them. But right now, somebody's got the fight being taken to them.
Not looking good right now for Clarity and Slacks. Looks like they were pushed out the zone and they were getting rolled on really quickly. Bizzle and Diego fighting back here from the outside of the storm. Looking to get a little bit of revenge right now, but it's SMG on the other side of the fire here. Gotta be careful. These are big damage, high fire rate weapons that can shred through you before you even notice. You lose a wall, and it's not looking good for Diego and Bizzle here as the shot starts to fire on through. Clarity G and Slacks, man, trying to pick up a quick 6 here. They find Diego. Can they get the rest? Of course they can. And just like that, they edge their way up. Yeah, hit the dance, Diego. You definitely deserve it. Oh, sorry, Clarity G there as they start to rack up. And they're in 2nd place now off of those elims. So a huge swing already.
And I talked about at the top of the show, honestly, I'm feeling a little not intelligent for second-guessing myself, as I'll get onto that point as I want to talk about Shoni and Polo. Again, they've been fighting incredibly well. Going to utilize the chug splash to try and just keep his teammate up here, but he wants the wall-to-wall with Austin. You can see he's trying to be cognizant of that edit coming through. Doesn't quite get the wall replaced, and he needs to be careful here because Austin could take advantage of him. He's actually able to wall him off. He's going to back off, slam down the armored wall, and say, no, you come to me.
Shoni and Polo, solid players. You can see that they've been holding their own this time around, though. Bested by Nawson and Bryce, so there will be a pickup.
Been very good
there.
too.
Also, great players, but what's cool about Shoni and Polo is how well we've seen them play throughout the course of the weeks. Obviously, those semi-weeks, those lead-ups in the qualifiers, putting a spotlight on this new duo, now popping off here. And also, they changed draw spots. They were in Greasy Grove before. They mix it up. They say, you know what? Tournament means a lot to us, especially the finals. Let's play somewhere else. And they try their hand elsewhere. And they've been finding success all around the map. Cold is going to find Avery, though. Big knock right there. Avery is inside the top 10.
But that was after we had already seen Avery going down earlier, so he was when the reboots coming through, probably likely not necessarily having as many shields or resources to be able to utilize. So we're going to take a peek. Our current leaders on the left-hand side well over Surge, but right now my prediction, and sitting in 6th place, Jamper and Duke, they're 90 below, and they're not the only ones. We're likely going to have 10 other duos, or 9 other duos who are also under pressure, and probably 1 or 2 of the solos who are running around.
I'm also curious about my pick, Kanat and Agers. They were at the Greasy Grove, one of the only teams over there in the zone was on that drop. They didn't play well when the zone went their way the last time, finding it hard to find their surge tags. For Jamper and Duke, it seems like this zone also being unfavorable for them right now, but they are still in the game here, still plenty of time to start playing for tags. Lots of teams in the general area as we hop on over here. This is just a hot pocket of Slacks and Clarity G. They've been having a struggle here on the edge of the zone. The first time, they were almost down and out, but they find Bizzle. They find Diego. It manages to keep them in the tournament, but now being held out by other teams in this general area. In the feed, though, they find Smacked. So this is a big exchange happening here. Clicks is still up as well. This time, no surge issues. And I love that. Cones him off, just blasts him with all the arsenal that he could find there, and Cobalt goes down.
See, that's one of the things I think Clicks does better than almost any other player when he's on your wall. Where if he gets a timing and he knows he can go, he will capitalize on it nearly better than anybody else in the region, arguably in the world.
It's that lack of hesitation at best of the best.
It's a double-edged sword, right?
On over to Aviv. And Gold is actually down right now. So our 7th place team facing struggles of their own. Not only does he have a man down, but he has Surge to worry about here. He's 150 damage below. Things are really going to start getting active now, so here comes the pressure. Clock is ticking.
We're not going to stop ticking anytime soon here as we still have 85 players up.
Starts to go out. Ooh. Great exchanges there. A headshot picks that one up too. So that's about 125 pickup. In the feed though, Vert is down. Jackson is down. And V finds another headshot. Talk about clutching up here. But that's not going to be enough. Out comes the minis. Tries to go for that little exchange again, and no, just gets hit with a double burst in the exchange, and 8th place is down and out.
And it was right after he ticked over for Surge, but because he had to peek over and over, as we're going to swing over to your prediction, they're 130 below, have plenty of flops to offset this initially, which is one of the best things when you're under Surge because they take so little time to consume. But Kanata, he's not in that circumstance. He has to go and he has to fight. 29 damage below with only 74 HP. Any solid shot from a shotgun will hit him. I mean, Fishy and Kaz, they will put the pressure on.
And you can hear it's an auto shotgun on the side of that wall, so it's going to do a lot of damage. It's going to be intimidating as well. The Surge will turn off here, but once again, Kanata and Agers have managed to struggle with their Storm Surge. Fishy and Kaz, the windmill team that lands so close to them, has really been giving them a problem, and you can see that it has not been an easy turnaround for them to get those eliminations time and time again for Pledge and Teo, a team that needs to bounce back here. On the rotate right now.
But Surge did turn off. We're at 70 players, 69 now with 36 duos remaining, so one more will need to go down before we have that first placement point given out, and there it is.
Nicely done. Teo is hurt. Pledge is hurt. This is a team that has obviously fought the battle against the Storm Surge, and it did not play too well for them as they don't have any additional heals to work with here. But everyone's more focused on the rotate. Everyone is focused on playing it slow and steady. Slacks actually finds himself knocked. Wonder what happened there. This is actually Donnie and Macwood there, right behind them. Great tags from Pledge.
If I would guess when it comes to Slacks and Clarity G, they were way out in the zone and fighting kind of on that northern side. And yeah, that's going to happen. Back to it. And now Clarity G, he's under pressure himself. Shots coming in on the back. And if one of our top teams ends up going down, there is room at the top of the leaderboard. So far, we have seen our top 3. They've been pretty consistent, making the back-to-back top 10s and adding an Elam. However, the second you falter, that's when you get that little shoop. And there's plenty more room at the top of the leaderboard, especially with 9 games to go after this one.
Yep. Slacks is down then. Stretch is down as well. One of those players that fall inside the storm line there. So you can see that struggle really starting to take its toll here. Clarity G, though, just holding on here. 2 bandages. Give the man a second to pop it. But no, it's not going to be enough here. Back into the old build you go. 3 just to work with. I mean, it does look like it's only a matter of time. Pamso Thatch might be finding this unless TK and Playify turn this one around here. And they go. They're on the hunt now. They don't find him, though.
TK needs to be careful there because you can see the other team who's right next to him is looking for this tail Pledge, but all of a sudden they're under pressure, and not sure who was able to slip the shot in there, but second place falls.
Blake and Lawrence,
Rokin
4
got that
elims right now, starting to get active here. Way to bounce back in the tournament after a rough game 1 and an early takedown at the Coney. This is looking really, really good for Blake and Lawrence. Like we said before, you let Blake and Lawrence get into endgame, and it's going to be a problem. This is a team that is very bold and will play for height.
That is a massive investment of metal there. I'm hoping they're sitting on another repository or that they're really valuing this power position because they just burned through nearly half of their metal. But right now you can see Jiden and Iamzo, they're boxed up right next to Clicks and Day, and I'm not necessarily sure that's a bear you want to poke.
This is looking great for them, though. 12 Chud Splashes for Iamzo here. He's got 6 himself, so 18 collectively for the duo. Launchpad in play, 3 armored walls as well. Where did they get all this loot? The command cavern is usually pretty good, but my gosh, this game might just be theirs just based off of a little bit of luck that they picked up. Clicks and Day actually managed to maintain a strong position here, though, for the first time today. So far, game 3, this halfway, this pivotal moment in the tournament, they have a great position here on the lobby.
But we should get a warning on Surge, and that's exactly what I wanted to see. Where are they on the threshold? So we'll get the first little blip, and that's actually the true. No, like I said, the first blip generally tells you how far the lowest team is below. So with only 33 being low, that tells you that these duos are right on top of each other. This number's going to ping pong back and forth. If you're Clicks and Day, that 117, 145, we say like above 150 is about safe. I'd say they should be fine for this one, but somebody who's not right-hand side of the screen, Walkers and Scare Bear, they're going to get active.
Just a single tag is what they need to go ahead and give some other teams some more pressure. And remember, it takes 30 seconds until the zone closes, and then it gets active and it starts damaging the opponents that are alive in the game. So we'll see who's below. We'll see who doesn't find their tags here shortly. Walkers and Scare Bear, everything's on the line right now. They're slowly slipping away. That means the teams right above them are starting to take away with it.
But Kanata was able to get a knock, and Cold immediately returned it over as Quanti ended up going down. Chimp falls to hide and seek, and there's going to be a little bit of room, but 5 seconds until the 25 damage. Every 5 seconds goes through, and you can see Aegis desperately trying to get back to Kanata, but shots are raining in from everywhere.
Yeah, the lobby's starting to focus in from the distance. It's not looking good for Kanata and Aegis. Cold and Scented, however, have this great angle here, and they're starting to pressure in onto other teams. Kanata gets fully finished there, so Cold or Scented will get his full elimination credit. Now they're starting to look up. They said, hey, wait, if they got finished, we need to turn this around. Let's go ahead and get these Elans, but no, they don't find any. But the speed still lighting up here. Quaz down now. 4 players. 1 player has to go down.
They really need a refresh. I don't know if you saw that, but Cold has no excess shields on him, and he's almost out of light ammunition, which as a low ground team, you really can't afford to do. You have to be constantly pressuring walls as Storm Surge will turn off. We have 2 solo riders out there, so we still are 1 away from that cascading placement points. And 5th zone is revealed with, hey, most of the lobby already posted up and chilling.
Yeah, and this is because of all those other fights that were dragging on here. Agers is still alive, though. You can see him barely holding on to 14th there on the outer edge. Jamper and Duke, though, looking for a launch pad. They find one, getting tagged out from behind. And no, those are big tags. He actually blocks himself off as well. That is not good. That's Agers, who's right on the heels here. But Duke gets in. He's starting to move. Can he find a safe spot? Yes, he can. Off to his teammate, now playing hip-to-hip. This is nice for him. They're back in. They will be able to save themselves this time here. Yam's Zone Degen starts to touch down. Sentin and Cole are still up. Ager is once again that solo, skating his way out the backside. Look at Fatch and Pamsa, though, holding on to top 7. A little angle here, very cheeky. He gets some tags, but no, that was Ager's. That would have been a full finish had he connected.
And I mean, they desperately need it. They have to get a refresh. And we talk about refresh, that means finding eliminations, and even if you're not the one to get them, players drop all their loot, and you need to pick it up. As we see, Scented actually gets the confirmation onto Agers. We have our top 25, so 1 point going down to every team. Each duel that drops after that will be an additional point. And our Game 1 winners, Pamso and Batch, they need to find more, but luckily for them, they have a pretty good priority position on this moving zone.
That's the second time Agers has fallen, and 26 just outside that extra placement point. That is probably one of the most painful times to fall there when you can see the points in reaching distance here. For Cold and Scented, things are starting to click here, but desperate, right? Desperate in the HP compartment, desperate in the overall material compartment as well. Let's take a look at High Ground, though, a team that hasn't really performed yet today. Playify and TK looking to make a statement here in Game 3. Already poising themselves up. Bank and Elite finally make it out of command. Cavern into endgame for themselves, and look at what they have managed to do with it. They have 7 elims, a launch pad, plenty of loot, so far above the Surge as well. This could be their game. They're definitely heating up.
And Peterbot finds Fatch, and then Day ends up getting a pair himself. So still pushing towards the top of the leaderboard. Peterbot and Bila doing an incredible job in that regard. Don't forget our second place duo of Slacks and Clarity G fell early, so a little bit of daylight, but Booga and Miro are still up, going through. Pamstow trying to do it as a solo, looking for some room. Will find the recycle pad. He's going to go straight to the front side of the zone as we see Joji pick up Macwood and Oliver OG pick up Crumlin.
He's only got enough for 1 box, though, so he truly needs to take a fight here. Onto the side he goes, use that Manson going and stop his momentum. There it is, catches Walker. Walker says no. Quick drop kick and shuts him down. Out of the box he goes on High Ground. It's Lawrence, it's Blake. We said they will play for High Ground if you let them get into this end game, and they are here. They are there on Height. Scented looking hurt, though. He is down and out of HP. He's going to have to figure something out. Lawrence and Blake, however, starting to get active here. 4 elims now.
And they have so much room because of where the zone is pulling. Nobody's been there, but Peterbot and Viola ripped it away.
This is crazy. They actually come on up. They want to take this fight here. They have such a lead over the lobby as well. They can risk it all here, and it works out. Look at the skeleton of the build. This shows a story in its own here. A fight for height. Blake and Cruz start to launch pad on off. They don't want that static. They don't want the action up top. They have a game to play out here, and out they go off to the side. But Peterbot and Bila really making a statement in here.
And then you can see on the low ground, Muzz trying to continue to run through. We've talked about how he's had a tough time with Avery staying up on his feet, but he says, don't worry, I'll do it myself, as Clicks ends up going down. Roken and Joji find a pair. Oliver gets the confirmation on that side, as Ionzo ends up picking up Day. And we're closing in on our top 10, but Scented right now barely has any minis, whereas Booga and Miro, for what feels like the first time, are hip to hip, and as soon as I say that, Booga opens up an edit, and he takes so much damage, and not really time to put it back, and he's gonna fall. It's all gonna be on Miro again.
Huge edit from Mega there to take out Booga, and the full finish comes through. Miro has to clutch him by himself now for Elite and Bank out of Command Cavern. They are already approaching 10 eliminations. Miro goes down to Nets on the outside there, and Scented is still alive here. A solo effort right now to try and clutch this one up, and already at 6 elims, almost 90 points. What more can he do here? He's definitely done enough as he's gotten into that top 10. No builds, solo on the side, he doesn't catch him. Player underneath this wooden box, will he fight for that one? In the feed though, Mega goes down, that's a full finish there. And here it is, great tag, down goes Nets. He's smart, and it's clever, and it's patient, and that is why Scented is still in this game.
And this grid space is so key, because you get just enough space down there. And if he owns that, he can edit his walls, and anybody who falls down will get taken out, as Bank ends up finding Roken, and we almost have a solos competition as Elite ends up finding a pair of them. He got another, Scented got another on the low ground, but up top, we talked about them needing to fall, and Peterbot and Viola say, it's our world, you're just living in it.
He's definitely playing this one out. Peterbot and Viola are starting to break away with a monstrous lead here, setting themselves up for another Victory Royale. Down comes Scare Bear, he gets shut down. It's a 2v2.
Wait, whoa, the low ground team has 14 elims? Hello?
Yeah, Elite and Bank have really turned this game into something special. This is a huge story maker for them. It's gonna put them inside that top 10, now top 7. I mean, there's a lot of placement points, and of course, elim points here waiting. Elite with the side angle, I love it, but he messes up. He falls there. The mantle doesn't quite come through. Up and over you go, so Elite's on top. He's gonna go on and heal himself out. Bank already taking the fight to the wall here. It's looking great for him, but he's pinched.
No builds. He's trying to find an angle, trying to get the mantle up. He's going to give the siphon over, and Peterbot's going to be able to pick that one up. But Elite, if you're going to clutch up, now's the opportunity. He has the position.
Great pre-fire there. He still has mats as well. And this is it. He's in. Commits. Great tag. The zone does the rest. And yes, Peterbot is hurt. Byla is also hurt. They don't have mats. It's an ultimate low push. But no, he misses. Down goes one and no follow-up. Byla clutches out in the end. But man, what an explosive game there for Elite and Bank as they pick up 14 elims in the second place as well.
Nuts for them pushing through for that. I think they might have ended up picking up the 15th there going through, which I think will be an NA's record when it comes to the duo. But Peterbot and Byla putting it all together, utilizing that drum for elims, the VR, and in 3 games, Monster, they're averaging just under 50 points a game? That's gross.
We didn't think we were going to see it on NA East. Peterbot and Byla are doing something crazy. They're contested at their draw spot. They're putting up big numbers. Not only that, they are playing for high ground. Way to clash and really fight that one out, keeping it exciting for us.
And they're utilizing the high rate of fire, the drum shotgun, and just having better positioning. But we're in the halfway mark of the day, quarter way point through. We'll kick it on over. Adam, Vivid SPG, what you got?
Thank you very much, guys. One of my favorite parts there when Blake and Lawrence are on the high ground and suddenly Sundown goes, hello, there is Peterbot and Byla. I mean, that was absolutely extraordinary. Back-to-back there for Peterbot as well. That we highlighted them the previous game, and now game 3 happens again. What a superb performance from Peterbot and Byla. Vivid, I mean, what can we say about this team we haven't said already? Fantastic FNCS finals. They are showing up.
They're ahead of the game right now. They're ahead of this lobby. We've gathered the 50 best duos, and right now, Peterbot and Byla are saying, hey, listen, yeah, there are 49 other duos in the lobby, but out of everybody, we are the best. The way they are playing high ground, the way they are taking it, like you said, Blake and Lawrence just baffled, right? They themselves were probably like, where did these guys come from? Just like Sundown was. All of a sudden, they're on the high ground. They ride it out. They play it perfectly. SPG, I am amazed by their play so far.
I don't know that we should be that surprised, though. This is what they did in qualifiers. They just ran through lobbies and absolutely dominated. This is what we should expect from them, but against this level of competition, it is absurd. They are putting on a show for us, and it's similar to what we saw in EU with Aqua and Vino just taking off and soaring through these lobbies. It's been incredible to watch through these first 3 games.
It really has. Now, in previous kind of qualifiers and semi-finals as well, we've seen kind of eliminations. We've had 11s, 12s. Bank and Elite 14! 14! That is a lot of digits. I don't even have enough fingers for that. That's a lot. I mean, this again, eliminations will account for 3 points apiece here. And Vivid, 14, an enormous score. The leaderboard is going to change massively now after 3 games. But, I mean, what can we say? I mean, again, eliminations are so pivotal, and they seem to be finding them left, right, and center.
Yeah, it's great, and it just happens so fast. If you see right here, right, they have like 9, right? So it's like, where did you pick up these last 4 eliminations? We saw them all the way down to that 2v2 situation. It was very, very close, by the way. Like,
oh yeah,
Peterbot and Violet, they may have secured the victory out, but it was close. Elite and Bank were right there behind them. Yeah. 14 eliminations. You talked about the caliber of the lobby that we are playing in. To come out and do what Peterbot and Violet is doing is amazing, but 14 eliminations against the players that we have in this lobby, that's unheard of.
Yeah, able to clean that up and stealing the low ground, able to take it from Cold and Scented, who have been dominating that position, able to get Scented eventually, and here's the leaderboard. This should be no surprise. Peterbot and Violet.
Guys, Vivid, 50 points between first and second place after 3 games.
Yeah.
We thought EU was massive, the difference in the points between, I think, the first, second, or third team. But this, between first and second, it's unheard of.
Yeah, this is an absurd lead. And then Elite and Bank jumping up 37 positions. Incredible.
Absolutely insane. And that's what those huge matches do for you. You see the variability early on within these tournaments, and hey, you got to keep it rolling now. Another team, Slacks and Clarity, went down early, but still able to hold on to that top 3 spot. Same with Booga and Miro. A little earlier than we've seen, but still in our top 5.
Yeah, we can see as well here 37 places Elite and Bank. That one game, 37 places they jump up. That is enormous, Vivid.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. And listen, we've talked about it a bunch, okay, SPG. Honestly, the most impactful thing in this lobby has to be Storm Surge, right?
Yeah.
Like, some of these players are doing way better at getting Storm Surge, and that's why they're consistently making it into these end games. Peterbot and Violet doing great over at the Collider, being contested by Skittles and users. We've seen